Welcome back to Normies Like Us, the podcast that reminds you it's hip to be square. Hedwig just dropped off a very special episode, maybe even a magical one. So pull out your wands and potions, Normies, because we're done talking muggle shit. It's Harry Potter on Normies Like Us.
Welcome to Hogwarts.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Turn around in the dungeon!
Expelliarmus! Mr. Potter, the boy who lived, come to die.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Ayo, magical bad boys. It's your host, Mike.
Hey, yo, it's Colin. no, I take that. Okay. It's Colin.
Blimey, bloody hell, it's Joe.
And we're joined once again by very special guests. Introduce yourself.
Hey Normies, it's Jacob. Vada Kedavra. I just killed all of you.
Oh, wow.
Shut off the
The
pod.
killing curse.
Jacob,
See you
it's
muggles later.
magical to have you here.
Well, why? Thank you. You know, I big fan of Harry Potter here, so I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad we were able to get everything sorted before the episode.
Yeah,
So-
hat.
And actually, you know,
Puns.
I might be the biggest of all of you three. I might be a bigger Harry Potter fan than anyone.
I would say so, probably.
I mean, if you're willing to say that, for
Yeah.
sure.
So let's go ahead real quick.
I'm not afraid.
Let's get our background then, right? Harry Potter. How much have you read? How much have you seen, right?
Guys, we're roughly about the same age. This thing was a fucking phenomenon.
Oh,
when it
yeah.
For
hit,
our
right?
generation specifically, like growing up with it, it was huge.
We were in what, like third or fourth grade when the first book hit American shores.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like literally the same age that Harry was growing up. So I grew up exactly the same age with
I hear
Harry.
so many people make that defense about what they like about Harry Potter. I've heard people 2 years
I'll defend
older
Harry
than
Potter.
me say it. I've heard
And
people
2
2
years
years younger than me say it.
yeah.
Well, by the time he was in the fourth grade, I was the same grade as Harry Potter. And it's like, sure, totally. I get it. That's
whatever.
a great
For our-
reason to
for our
like it.
generation.
It's almost like
Yeah.
it was written for young adults.
Yeah,
The last
even
one
more
came
than
out when we were, I think, sophomores or juniors in high school, and he was just ending his high school.
Yeah, I
career
was
as
not in
well.
college yet.
No,
Yeah.
it was in.
Well,
high
if you
school.
were a sophomore, I was a freshman. I don't know.
But yeah, we have a similar timeline of our educational careers as Harry did. Like, you know, he was just getting into the schools, you know. So I've read up to Goblet, and I've seen all the movies and, you know, even the Fantastic Beasts and stuff. So I'm not a super fan, but I really did enjoy the first 4 books.
Let's hit
and,
that real quick.
yeah.
I've read all the books. I've seen all the movies. Joe, Jacob, same.
I've seen all the movies. I read the first book in like third or fourth grade when it came out, and I was like, not for me.
What a contrarian.
Okay. Yeah, I've read all the books multiple times. I've watched all the movies multiple times. I wouldn't consider myself a super fan, but I am a fan.
You say multiple times. These, as a kid, were the first time I knew kids who did rereads. I probably only did
Yeah.
one of them as a reread, maybe Prisoners of Azkaban, just because it was so dark and weird, you know, from compared to all the other two
No,
at
I've
the
read
time. But I knew lots of kids, who were like,
yeah.
well, on my first read through, I felt this, but by the end of the week, by the time I'd read it the third time, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
No, I would literally like
love
you know
wizards, huh?
you probably remember like you know Borders would have like those all night parties for like the releases and stuff. I would get them at midnight. I would start reading it. I would not stop until I finished the entire book. I must have finished like the last couple like within a 12-hour period. So-
Wow.
That is amazing.
Considering the size, man, and the age, that is really impressive.
And the fact that
Yeah,
most
well-
kids don't want to read.
Yeah,
You know, we
very
can
and,
talk about it
these-
like these books really started a whole youth reading movement that didn't really
Oh, absolutely.
exist at that
Young
time.
adult books were in fashion again.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time.
And this is how we end up in a world with Hunger Games and Twilight.
Yeah, if you look at the Twilights and the Hunger Games of the world, not as well written as Harry Potter, but
Definitely not.
Right.
I'll a lot of people say there's op-eds, there's hot takes that came out at the time of like from literary snobs like, oh, these aren't even well written, blah blah blah. These Harry Potter is so much more well written than something like Twilight.
Well, and also
The
to
world
say they're
building.
not well written is like they're literally for children.
Yeah,
man.
it's not
like,
it's not
they're
James
for
Joyce.
kids.
Yeah.
Well, who's the guy who does the Da Vinci Code? I remember him taking a big shit all over him
Oh,
and
yeah,
being
and
like, well,
these
what's so
books are
special
better
about
than
you,
Da
you
Vinci
moron?
Code.
Yeah, fuck you. Stephen King came out right away and said, like, Dolores Umbridge is, like, one of the best villains
Oh,
ever
yeah.
written.
Really good.
Harry
Oh,
is
classic
so cool.
characters in these.
Like, he loves
Great
Harry
world
Potter.
building,
Yeah.
great descriptive like character design and everything. Like,
And since these are sort of broad strokes, I think this would be the best time to mention it. Snape kills Dumbledore.
Yeah,
Do you
Jacob,
remember the first
you're at one of those
spoiler
Borders
movement?
events. Did that
Spoiler
happen
alert.
to you? Did you get driven by and yelled at?
No. I
So
don't
this
think
was
so.
this was the first real spoiler culture moment where
Yeah.
people were literally day one release. Snape kills Dumbledore. LOL.
We could argue, like, going back to like Star Wars or something like that, like Luke, I am your father. That might have been like the original.
But the internet is
spoiler.
coming into its own at this
yeah,
point.
the internet is
Joe's
coming into
saying-
its own. It's out there.
It might
Everyone
be
knew.
the first prank culture. YouTube literally had just started. This might be one of the earliest YouTube videos I ever watched. Was people driving around in parking lots screaming at kids in Harry Potter lines.
Yeah, Snape kills Dumbledore, man.
Snape
that
killed
was
Dumbledore.
I knew people in high school who had signs that said it. They
Shirts.
were there.
Hell
Midnight
yeah,
parties.
And now we have Warriors Blue a 3-1 lead. So
Let's back off that for a minute. We'll jump into the books. We'll
Yeah.
jump into the movies.
Yeah.
We'll talk about, do they have a comic presence? We'll talk about the video games. But first, it's been a minute since we've seen each other. How about a whatcha? How you guys doing? Pop culture. What you watching? What you reading? What you playing?
let's start with our guest, Jacob.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I've just been playing this little indie game. It's called Red Dead Redemption.
I've heard about that.
So have we
yeah.
talked about that, I wonder?
Yeah, we talked about it last week. I'm still playing it, still loving
Still
it.
loving
so, yeah.
That game is like a hotel. It's Best Western.
In terms of other things,
Oh,
I've been
Mike,
watching
my
this-
eyes glazed over.
It's like, oh no, my nose is bleeding.
Sorry.
No, I'm really excited. I've been so one thing I've been watching. I've been rewatching Narcos on Netflix.
Ooh,
I'm
very
really excited for
That's
the
a P good
new.
show.
I heard that's a pretty good show.
It is a P good show, in fact. The new season, Narcos Mexico, comes out mid-November. I'm very excited
really
for
the
that.
subtitle?
That is
yeah.
what it's called now.
Because
the new it's a
if you don't know,
prequel,
Narcos
technically.
is a show. The first 2 seasons were about Pablo Escobar and his rise in Colombia. The 3rd season was about the Cali cartel, which is the main cartel that took over after his death. And then the 4th season is now going to Mexico. There's no Pedro Pascal anymore, no the other guy, but there is Diego Luna, who's going to be the new boss, cartel boss guy. So that's an interesting role for
very
Diego Luna.
cool.
And Michael Pena is the
a great
FBI
cast.
guy hunting him, or I don't know if he's FBI or DEA or whatever. But so yeah, you got 2 pretty big movie actors, and pretty excited about that. So.
Big Disney stars. I mean, you got Michael Pena in the
Ant-Man
Ant-Man
and the Wasp.
franchise and Rogue One for Diego Luna.
Yeah, and I love me some Diego Luna, so I'm very excited about that. Kind of playing against type as well, so that should be fun.
Yeah, him as a villain that's,
Yeah.
or a villainous character. It's a good turn.
I was a very big fan of the guy who plays Pablo Escobar in those first 2 seasons. A lot
Yeah.
of people criticize he's not Colombian, he's actually Salvadorian.
He's Brazilian.
Or I'm sorry, Brazilian, so his accent's not as good.
and especially if you're a Spanish speaker, it's very noticeable that he has a Portuguese accent. It's Spanish because
There we
Spanish
go.
is not his first language. But he is a good actor, and if you're not a
The look, that's all I
Spanish
care
speaker, you
about.
might not
As a
even-
non-native,
Yeah.
he looks fantastic to me. So
I do think he
never
does a great
bothered me.
acting thing. Never realized that thing about the accent because I don't speak Spanish, but I can see that would. It's basically like if a New York mob boss had a British accent.
Yeah.
that way.
That's
It's kinda
that's a
ridiculous.
really good perspective to put it in. Because I'm sure
So-
some people were like, "Oh, that's not a big deal."
That's my
Yeah. That's
favorite
a big
performance
deal.
in Godfather yet.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
But
Leave the
otherwise,
gun,
a good.
take the cannoli.
You come to me on the night of my daughter's wedding.
Otherwise, though, a very good performance, and it's a great show. Pedro Pascal, as I said before, love him. That white guy from Logan, the bad guy in Logan.
Oh, yeah. That Western.
Guys, Colin here. If I can just jump in next, since we're talking
Yeah.
about Netflix shows, can I talk about Castlevania? And
Oh, you've
just
been watching
fucking
Oh,
Season
have
two
not
is
seen
done,
season
right?
2 yet.
scream
How
about
is it?
Castlevania
Yeah.
for a minute,
Absolutely.
guys.
I
it
love
is-
season 1. Just
Did
realized
you?
season 2 is
I'm
out.
so happy. Joe, you saw it as well, I believe. You guys burned
Yeah,
through
and
it.
as a non-anime fan, oh man, this is
Feels a little
something that's
special,
Because
right?
you are a horror
genre-breaking.
fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a horror fan. I'm
Well, especially
a
if you
casual
know
video
the,
game fan.
the plot of the games and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, Symphony of Night. And
Oh,
all that.
If you're
Jacob,
a little
the
turned
lore
off by
is
the series
so
because you
good.
don't like animes, as someone who doesn't really care for animes, I'm telling you to
well, it's
give
not
it
a
shot.
true anime. It's a Western animation that is very anime influenced.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if that's not really your bag, give this one a shot. If you
Please.
like horror or video games,
Please.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much to love here, guys. The history of the lore is so well adapted and respected. This might answer the question we did in one of our earliest pods. This is the best video game adaptation I've ever witnessed.
Wow.
Truly. Honestly, I love it so
Better
much.
than Super Mario Bros.
It feels
Better than John Leguizamo in Super Mario
And
Bros.
Colin, let me ask you: when you were a kid, did you realize that Alucard is just Dracula backwards?
As a kid, no. But in the love and respect I always had for that character, because he is Dracula's son.
Symphony
he is
of the
a
Night.
Dampfmere, which is a half vampire, half human being.
Right.
He, of course, hates his father, wants to pervert his name and do it backwards. I fucking love that shit now,
Yeah.
dude. Let me
Yeah.
tell you. And the character, Jacob, he's played by Gaius
Gaius
Baltar.
Baltar, yeah.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, the voice acting is so fucking good. Interestingly, I think it does sound better, the dub, than the subs. If you guys have listened to the Japanese version, I don't think the voice actors there are bringing it as much. The guy who plays Dracula, Graham McTavish, in the American version, who you might know, he played one of the dwarves in The Huntsman. He's about to play King Atlan, you know, the first Atlantean king in Aquaman coming up. He also plays the, like, bad guy in Preacher, the cowboy who's chasing them down. Fucking phenomenal actor. He voices Dracula. The Japanese dub makes him very boisterous, very loud, very cool sounding. No, I mean, there is just something so devastating
To
about
a
Graham
nuanced
McTavish. Yeah.
performance, yeah.
Oh my God. Scenes in this one where he's just crying and saying, "My son, what have I done?" And the humanity of all. It's just there. I fucking love it, guys.
I love this in season 1, sort of the themes of like science versus religion.
Ooh,
and
yes. It is so well
the
portrayed
bad
in this
religious
too.
people. And it's like that
especially in a vampire world where religion is always heavily.
No,
Yeah,
Alucard
you don't really,
says...
you don't usually see like the vampires or like the science ones. Right?
Alucard says, "My father was a scientist. He is a man of the world. He understands things that cultures have forgotten 1,000 times over."
And it goes back to, you know, when back in the olden days when religion, you know, they would kind of see like scientists or like free thinkers or whatever as like black magic. Or
Oh, the
something.
Middle Ages when we wiped out science completely.
Yeah.
Totally true.
Yep.
It's great. I couldn't recommend it more. The main criticism for the first season was the short order. It just had 4 episodes, right?
No one knew.
We
Yeah.
get up to 8. It doubles it. It's great. It rushes it again a little too fast. No spoiler alerts to you guys. I want you to enjoy it. It wraps up things pretty nicely. It has been greenlit for a third season, so you want it to slow down and take its time a little more. Season 7 has probably one of the best fights I've ever seen. If you Google it,
Episode 7?
it's
Episode
the
7.
or I'm sorry, episode 7. If you Google it, it's the first thing that comes up with Castlevania now. People love this fight scene so much. I have seen 1,000 dubs that are like, if you put this soundtrack from this game over it, it also works. If you do this, it also works.
my God.
Oh, you know, it's the animation. I'll just say,
See, I
Trevor
love the fighting
Belmont. Oh,
in season 1, and so I have to check that out.
it is amped up so much. Trevor Belmont's whip, the vampire killer, called the Morning Star, which is the final upgrade in this anime version, is not CG animated. It's hand drawn.
Oh my God.
When something like that, the care that is put into something that freeform moves like that, I mean, guys, I'm crying. My mouth is watering as I'm talking about this beautiful anime. Watch it. Netflix.
So you got that on
Couldn't
Netflix.
recommend
You
it
got
more.
Narcos on Netflix. This
good.
episode is not sponsored by Netflix.
Well,
And
everyone's
just a huge dump. You know, they just did that Sabrina show too. Netflix, they're popping,
Haunting
baby.
of House Hill.
Well, and
Hill House.
to keep the Netflix trend going here, I've been going through Daredevil season 3, another Netflix
I haven't
original.
started it yet.
Loving it. Slowing down now that I'm over halfway through because I don't want to finish it just yet. But it's been great. Fucking Kingpin's performance, man. It's incredible. And I'll tell you, like, people give Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr. like, oh, they were born to be Deadpool. They were born to be Iron Man. Charlie Cox was born to be Matt Murdock. His performance as Daredevil is
Better than Ben Affleck.
incredible.
that's the tall order.
Yeah, a British guy born to be a deaf attorney. Or, I'm sorry, a blind attorney.
The Catholic guilt, man. I mean, it's just like seeping out of him. It is perfect.
Excellent. Well, I have been playing the game also called Red Dead Redemption 2. It's very good. I don't want you to expand on that. I haven't braided any horse hair. Another game I've been playing is called Fantasy Football, and I've been kind of getting my butt kicked, so hoping that turns around.
buddy.
Yeah.
Well, this
and
week you're going down. I'm sorry. to tell
I'm
you.
playing Jacob this week. I'm gonna kick his butt.
Doubtful.
I've been watching How to Get Away with Murder on Netflix. Just
Ooh.
kind of a fun.
I was running through one of the older shows.
Yeah. We haven't seen it at all. It's very good.
Shonda Rhimes, baby.
Shonda
Yeah, she's
Rhimes, who
amazing.
just did
The
a
queen of
big
TV.
deal with Netflix.
Oh my God! Brought to you by Netflix.
Yeah.
Enter promo code Normies. And then reading wise, I have not been doing much, but I really have been meaning to jump into that Cycle of the Werewolf that Colin was nice enough to let me borrow. It's sitting on my computer desk. I want to crack into
let
that.
me know, buddy.
Yeah, and that's it. So we've had a magical time talking about what's going on. You know, should we hop into the books of Harry Potter?
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a Harry wizard, Hagrid.
Yo, is it?
All right, Normies, we've just hopped on the train at platform 9 3/4. We are heading to Hogwarts to talk about the books, the phenomenon of Harry Potter. Guys, I got to ask you, what house are you in? You been to Pottermore?
Oh, you know I've been to Pottermore.
You know what?
I think
house I'm in.
everyone, even casuals, have been to Pottermore at some point because this fandom is so expansive at this point beyond the books.
Yeah,
Well, you got
the
people
universe.
that grew up with it that are in their late 20s, early 30s. You've got new generations that are discovering it for the first time. So the audience is huge. You got people showing it to their kids, you know?
It was just Halloween. I saw a lot of kids dressed up as Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my brother's a little older than us. He's, I would say, a generation above. He got the first releases of the book while he was overseas, and it was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even for people who were older than Harry, these books were transformative. I mean, America was excited to be reading this British book again.
That's true, is the British invasion on the literature side. Yeah.
And again, it's a compliment. If they weren't written so well, that would not have happened.
No.
You know, they would have
J.K.
just
Rowling
been baby
was, you know,
books.
There's
the
a reason they're
Beatles
so
of the books.
successful. And
Yeah.
like we were saying before, you know, it really spurred a whole new, like, movement of, like, getting kids to read, giving them Harry Potter. They'll
Young
love
adult
it.
fantasy
And then from
books.
there, you can move on to other young adult fiction. And really the whole young adult fiction industry that we see now kind of spawned out of that.
And it was around before.
It was around, but never
But
as
it was
big. Like,
not.
would not have the Hunger Games.
Well, think about
Yeah.
something like Goosebumps. They weren't, you know, my dad wasn't
Yeah.
talking about Goosebumps. My dad knows the houses in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I mean, is
Yeah.
this one of the most normie things we've covered?
Joe, that's so funny that you say that. In the shower this morning, I was thinking before we got here, I think, and I say this every episode, but this might be the most normie thing we've ever covered.
Well, Star Wars, maybe.
That's pretty up there, but there's a lot of niche within that.
Yeah.
Harry Potter too, though. There's a lot of deep lore. The world building is what goes so deep. It's similar to Star Wars. Like the world is so well thought out, and that's what separates it from a Twilight or Hunger Games.
Well, and to tie it back to specifically what we're talking about now, the books, that world building is built on the page.
yeah.
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 It's all from J.K. Rowling's genius, some would
Imagination.
say, her imagination, right?
Well, when she wrote the first book, I don't think she had the entire, like, obviously she didn't have the entire world planned
Neither
out
did
yet.
George Lucas.
Yeah,
But
she
she was-
makes a lot of claims now about what she was keyed into. But
No, I actually don't
Can
think
I
she
give
was,
a hot
but
take
I
about
think-
her
okay.
right now? As an author?
Yeah.
Hot take. Here we go.
The credit she's giving herself for calling what you were just saying of like, I knew it all along. I knew this all along. Yes, this character was gay. And it's like, just because people are saying it now and giving you credit for it now, you didn't put it on the page. Like,
Well,
you were not
subtext.
brave enough at the time to do things that forward.
Well, I don't know
You're just
about
taking
that.
credit for it now.
Could be. Now that's a fair hot
It's-
take,
it's-
though.
it's a
I've
hot
heard these
take.
criticisms.
No,
You
it's a
use
hot
the word
take.
brave. I don't think it's brave either, personally.
No,
so.
no, I think
she's
it's very
saying
like,
it's-
oh, give me credit.
I think you're
Yeah.
maybe prescribing things to her that she hasn't said, but
I mean, I'm not. Like,
she
these
didn't.
are...
I don't think she called herself brave, though.
Oh, God, no.
Is this
no, I
fake
wouldn't say
news? Are you
that.
calling Joe
But
fake news?
I will say, I don't, like, when she wrote The Sorcerer's Stone, I don't think she had the whole world planned
Right.
out. But I think part of her genius is that she was able to adapt the world that she had already written, expand it, and make it all fit still and make it all make sense. And I think Prisoner of Azkaban really expanded and opened up the world in a huge way that the first two books didn't do. And I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, and again, like, I'm not trying to take away any credit from the writing itself. Like, I think she's done a phenomenal job here.
Well, let's jump back a little bit. I want to know your guys' houses. But
That's
let me
what I
ask
wanna
you
know.
this. Is it profiling? Because I'm pretty sure... Can't you look at someone and know what
Well,
Harry
you
Potter
have the
house
heroes,
they're in?
the bad guys,
Yeah.
the
Well,
nerds, and the
But I mean, even in our
leftovers.
world, I've gone to college parties where I've said to people, "Oh, let me guess, you're a Ravenclaw," and they're like, "Oh, how did you?" And it's just like you just talk about it, you know?
Well, the archetypes of the four houses are pretty broad. I
Yeah.
mean.
Well, that's
I will
pretty,
say that, but-
Yeah.
I mean, we've all taken the quiz.
We've
You
all
can
taken the
basically
quiz.
just
Let's
give
go
the
around.
I'll say it right
answers.
now. Slytherin. Happy and proud. It's what I wanted. It's what I led it towards. I was very excited to be Slytherin.
Wow.
Gryffindor. Obviously, I got the hero house.
All right. Well, since it's so easy to tell, Jacob, I think I've told before, but maybe not you
Okay.
guys. What do you think
Looking
my
at
house
you.
is?
Oh, Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff? One of the
You're
two.
saying
Whoa.
so
I think
you know
Ravenclaw. I don't remember
gonna
what you
say
said, but I would
Ravenclaw.
say
Gryffindor
Ravenclaw.
heroes, Slytherin evil, Hufflepuff dumb, Ravenclaw smart.
Well, Hufflepuffs
that
are just
is
You think
don't
Hufflepuff's
fit
dumb?
in the
I
first
think they're
three
just
categories.
like,
Hufflepuff
oh, I'm smart.
emotional, you know, but
Kind
that's
to a
when
fault.
you break
Yeah.
it
Defining
down.
to a
Yeah.
fault.
Sure, to me, the defining characteristic of the Hufflepuffs is you don't fit into the other three houses.
Yeah.
You're just everybody else. So I always thought that Hufflepuff got like the short stick.
They
because it's
absolutely
like,
I mean,
nobody wants to be a Hufflepuff.
Helga Hufflepuff,
well, you got to think like, what's his name? Diggory?
Cedric Diggory.
Cedric
the most
Diggory was a
brave,
Hufflepuff,
yeah.
right? And he was like fucking kick ass.
Edward from Twilight,
They
yeah.
But
have
like
their,
that character
their gets.
archetype, don't you think he should have been in Gryffindor? Like sometimes they
Oh,
don't
100%.
really make
See,
sense.
I
He's
think
the
every
hero.
hero should have been in Gryffindor. It's like obviously I got Gryffindor
Or like
because when I was
shouldn't have
taking
Hermione
the test,
been in
it was
Ravenclaw,
like,
the smartest
yes,
girl in
I'm
school?
a good guy.
Joe is saying for Mike Ravenclaw.
Yep.
Mike, I'm looking at you. I'm saying Slytherin. Come to my dark side.
Wow. Nope. Joe got it. I was Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
He's smart,
So
man.
we got a Ravenclaw,
But they're also
two
the
Slytherins, and a
artsy
Gryffindor.
ones.
Yeah.
Jacob, high five
And
to my Slytherin.
You know what
brother.
I am? Slytherin all
Hell
the
yeah,
way.
buddy.
No. Slytherin all the way. Ravenclaw would be my second choice.
I took a Facebook quiz once that gave me Gryffindor, though, so I don't know which one to rely on.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be the
You gotta be the
Gryffindors because the
Pottermores,
Gryffindors
specifically.
are arrogant and they're goody two shoes. I would want to be
Typical
Slytherin,
Slytherin.
or
Typical.
Ravenclaw, but Slytherin for sure.
Slytherin again. You know
What is their defining trait? Because when I think of Slytherin, I think of conniving, backstabbing villains.
Yeah,
well,
that's what they are.
That's the
Those
other
are their
kind of
defining
mistake of
So
you know,
change my
obviously when she
mind.
made the house is like she didn't put a lot of thought into the archetypes, but it's like every single character in Slytherin is bad in some way. There's never a
At least the ones
more
you interact with.
sympathetic
That's
Slytherin
insane
character,
to me,
and I would have
yeah.
loved if there was like a sympathetic Slytherin character because you don't really get that.
Yeah, but I mean, again,
agree.
like she was writing books for fucking children,
Right, but it's like, when they
these are
designed the
bad
school,
guys. They're
they
the
said,
bullies.
"Oh, we'll have one whole house out of
Of
these four
bullies.
houses that are the bad guys."
Yeah.
And then we'll be really surprised when they are the ones behind the bad stuff.
Yeah, I'm a teacher on that board who just says we should kick out that entire house, cut out all the troublemakers. Like, come on, no.
But that's
what
what's
if
great
you were
about the
like-
Wizarding World. It's always had that darkness to it.
Yeah, if you're like
And they don't shy away from it.
a Hermione type, you know what I mean? Like you're smart and you always follow all the rules, and like you get down there and the hat goes on your head and the sorting hat's like, whew, oh my god, Slytherin, put her in Slytherin
Yeah,
now.
like, oh, what did I
Like,
do?
what
Need
you
this.
do? Be like,
Well, I was
oh,
like, you know,
God.
Umbridge was Slytherin. She was kind of like,
Oh, was she really?
you know,
Of course she was. She's a bad guy.
Yeah.
All the bad guys. Which is, and you say there's no redeeming bad guys, but like,
Snape.
yeah, Snape was Slytherin.
Snape, but he's redeeming in that he was basically in love with this girl that
Yeah,
didn't
he's
feel
got
the
a
same way
tragic
about him, and that was
backstory.
his
But also,
whole
I mean, he
reasoning for
follows-
doing
You were a
everything.
neo-Nazi who fell in love with a Jewish woman, and I was
Yeah.
like, I guess it's not that bad. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's a part of Dumbledore's
But only
original
because
trusted
Voldemort-
circle.
Yeah.
But the only reason he does anything is because Voldemort kills Harry's mom. That's his whole impetus for doing anything good.
So
or
you don't
noble.
think he would do good stuff regardless?
No, he wouldn't have.
By
if
the law of the
Voldemort
books,
did
he
not
is against
kill
mudbloods
the
in the
girl that he was in
beginning.
love
That's right.
with.
That's true.
He's from a proper
he was a
house. If
Death
you guys
Eater.
remember, he's a prince.
Actually,
he's the
now
half-blood
that
prince.
so the only Slytherin that I can think of that they gave a more sympathetic backstory is Romulus Black, Sirius Black's brother.
I was going to bring him up as
Yeah.
well, Jacob.
who more of a deeper cut of within the plot of the books, but basically he's a Death Eater. Then he decides to leave the Death Eaters. He steals one of the Horcruxes and hides it.
And following these people's expanded stories
Are
and
beyond the ring.
histories through Pottermore, I would say is the real niche of Harry Potter.
Taking
Like,
the
these
quiz,
are the deep
normie.
cuts.
Learning those backstories of side characters,
Yeah.
niche.
Well,
Yeah.
and can we? I mean, so we know what houses we're in. There are more levels to the Pottermore quiz. Jacob, I would say you've gone the most niche on this.
Yeah, yeah,
You
you can-
expand there.
You can, you can get your Patronus. You can get your wand.
Your wand, yep.
design. So
I
like
got
what
my
kind
wand.
of wood your wand.
I know
is
what
and all
my
that
core
shit.
is. It's Phoenix core.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
Dragon
too, buddy.
Heartstring.
Oh, very cool.
I got a Phoenix core, but a maple wand, and my hometown in Ohio is known for maple syrup, so I found that very fitting.
Oh, there
You
you
can
go.
also do your American house for people that care about Ilvermorny.
That's niche.
Fucking bullshit.
I don't.
Who are their heroes? Because I'll just be that
It's
one.
truly like
It's
the
the
Thunderbird, the
pumpernickel.
Swamp Rat.
the Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
I know.
But isn't that niche? Because the whole
That's
new movies
niche.
and stuff are all about like the first
The
Fantastic
American
Beast
side.
was in America, and even the girl in that movie, the woman, I don't remember her name, says, "Oh yeah, we've got our own school here. It's called Ilvermorny, and it's way better." And then Fancy Boy, what's his name, is like, "No way, Hogwarts is like so much better." Yeah, Newt Scamander.
Newt Scamander.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we get into the movies, we'll talk more about the expanded universe.
Yeah.
But for now, sticking to the books.
Yeah, and maybe we should go through and break down each of the books real quick.
Sure.
Let's list the titles and a brief synopsis.
I'll give you a quick history, too, of the lady.
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling, as we know her real name is Joanne Murray. She is 53. She came up with the idea of magical teenagers on the train ride to her job as a researcher for Amnesty International. The books were first published in 1997. At the time, literally, what a bad year for her. Her mother died. She gave birth. She got divorced. She lost her home. So she's living on government funds. She's sleeping in her car.
With a child.
You know, she put a lot of her own life into the character of Harry Potter. Harry Potter's parents were killed when he was a baby, similar to her mom dying. So she's kind of putting her own grief into the story.
Yeah, just like we learned in the Stephen King episode, you write what you know. And that's what
Absolutely.
she was doing.
Yeah, and she really tapped into something because she's the first YA book to be on the New York Times bestseller since Charlotte Webb in 1952.
Wow.
Which, I mean, we really cannot understate how big the reading boom became for young adults in America.
It was so
following
important,
Harry Potter.
guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
It
I
made
was already
reading
kind of a
cool
reader
again.
when I was a kid. Like, I was a big reader. I was like a kind of a nerd. But, you know, I read the Redwall series, which is a great series.
Oh,
if
I
you
love Redwall.
like Redwall. So when these books came out, I was like, this is like right up my alley. I loved them. And, yeah.
Being a D&D and a Magic the Gathering boy, like just having something involving magic and spells and like trolls and, you know, that really appealed to me. So it was, and I read all the Tolkien books too. So this is like, it's an extension of that kind of world.
Definitely.
See, I read the first book. I don't like fantasy stuff all that much. I read it and I was like, that's pretty cool. Not for me.
Yeah.
You know?
First book is the worst one, too. So.
Yeah, I'm sure.
maybe like now, because now I could probably speed run through one of those in like 2 or 3 days, right?
That's how I
So
re-listened to
maybe
them.
I'll do that.
Audible.com.
Yeah, I recently actually got the audiobooks, and I was listening to them as like a ongoing thing. That I was
Nice.
listening
Well, maybe I'll do that because I know it's a book that expands upon a year of schooling, and maybe this is more of a movie thought, but like to me, these are like fall time books. Like Thanksgiving is the time I marathon the movies. Like maybe now would be a good time to jump in and read some of these
to.
books.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I
Check
think
them
that's a
out.
good idea.
Yeah, so let's get in and see what are these titles here.
We
Especially
got the first
core.
one Joe mentioned before called Philosopher's Stone in other countries, but here it is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, released in 1997, almost called Harry Potter and the School of Magic. It's the first year of boarding school, and a student has a rough year, basically, right? He's the hero, takes over, blah, blah, blah.
Goes into
I'm
school.
different from everyone.
He learns
I'm
about the
not
entire
natural.
Hey, new
world he
kid.
didn't know
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh, he's a mud
Crossing of the Threshold, according to Joseph Campbell's Great
exactly,
Hero's Journey.
Exactly.
We got the sequel in 1998, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. He's a hero of the school, must prove himself again when people begin mysteriously getting sick, basically, right? Mm-hmm.
First-
A basilisk is on the loose.
Yep.
Yep.
That's never good.
No. The third one, we've got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, 1999. A psycho's on the loose and craves young boy blood. Don't mind that dog.
This is my personal favorite, is Azkaban. I don't want to expand too much, but I love
This one is great, and I think this is where it really, for me, it became something more. And I was like, oh shit, these books are like...
The stakes
really
a
good, like,
character Sirius Black introduces.
Yeah.
Like literally...
much darker feel to
Yeah,
it.
you can say it's a boy at a boarding school who, in the distance, politically, there's a Hitler-esque character who's riling up the country.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty weird. That's pretty scary. But to put in the third book the actual terms of a psychopath has broken into the school who is killing other
Specifically
people,
trying
it's
to
like,
find
yeah, you're
Harry
like,
and
yeah,
kill
the
Harry.
hero of the book. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ. And he's like the wizarding Jack the Ripper. Like, that's awesome.
The outside world is now coming to him.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you look back at these books, you see that Harry's life is pretty much in danger from the moment he's born, and he's just constantly in life-threatening situations as a young child going through the school, and it's great.
Yeah, you can have the criticism that every year is a new adventure that he overcomes, but Jacob, you're right. I would argue since he was born, every year of his life has just been terrible.
Well, yeah, he's the chosen one. He's the wizarding Jesus or whatever. So he's constantly at odds with other forces.
All right, and then we get number 4.
The fourth book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It's the Olympics, no minors.
Yeah, basically.
My personal favorite
Olympics.
book. I think 4 is the best book. 3 is the best movie. That's my opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this book is, and this is where they actually started becoming like, 2
Thick.
inches thick instead of 1 inch
Yeah,
thick.
they were thick boys now.
She
But this
stopped
one-
editing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get paid by the word?
But
Yeah.
Prisoner of Azkaban started on the world expanding. This one delves so much more into the outside wizarding world. You get like
A French
the newspaper,
wizarding
the
school
whole
comes in,
government.
and you're like, what?
Well,
French
and again,
and,
like this
like
is
Bulgarian
kind of the
or
point
whatever.
I think where everyone makes the claim they grew up with Harry Potter, but I think this is when she realized my audience is getting older. They got to get more mature.
Very true.
that
Very
makes
true,
sense.
Joe. She was
And,
writing for target audience at that
Yeah,
point.
well, because think we've gone from elementary school to middle school. We're not kids anymore. We want boyfriends. We want girlfriends.
I do want
like there's
boyfriends to
drama
girlfriends.
in sports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more teen drama in it, and then
Sports.
at the end you see Voldemort for the very first time in the books. In
That
person.
little no
Is that-
fuck.
But what about on the back of the head of
Yeah, you
his
see him on the back
body
of the head, but you
returns,
see him
yeah.
fully
his
formed.
physical form?
And from this point, I say from the end, like Prisoner of Azkaban is the last kind of joyous look into the Wizarding world. The end of Prisoner of Azkaban is a total tone shift where they go super dark and everything is just basically terrible for Harry until the end of the books.
And it's the new norm
Yeah.
of the universe is dark.
Voldemort is
and
back.
Not necessarily
He's doing
gritty.
things.
It's still
Yeah.
fantastical, but it's dark.
The
It's
stakes
not
go
for
up.
babies anymore.
No.
It's like the death of Cedric Diggory, and they're like, oh shit, these kids are dying. Harry Potter's in real danger, and shit is bad.
Yeah, definitely. Gets way more serious.
Well, then we're talking number 5, Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix, 2003. Goth teacher gives private lessons on how to control your urges while everyone you know joins the army.
These descriptions.
Colin, these descriptions are like,
You
yep,
guys are
I remember
loving
that.
it, right? Yeah, I mean, every part of it. That's what it's
Yeah.
about. That's when he starts taking the Olamakia classes to control his
yeah,
dreams.
something like that.
Olsamani, I believe, something like that. As
Yeah.
he's getting invaded by Voldemort, who has
Yes.
returned, the Order of the Phoenix protects Harry. They are a army put together by Dumbledore to protect him, and it deals with prophecies, which I thought was a really cool introduction to that universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one. But I think this is kind of the low point between my personal favorite, Goblet of Fire, and the last two, which kind of wrap up on a big epic.
It's a lot of sitting on your hands. This
Yeah, it's
book,
like
unfortunately,
waiting for Voldemort
Yeah.
to come back. In this one, he's kind of in hiding and
Passive, not
he's,
aggressive.
He's working secretly within the government, but he's not out in the open yet until the end of this book. But then after that, we have
Oh, he's got the return, baby, because guess what? It's number 6, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Elderly homosexual and teen set out on a mission to find a ring. Dumbledore dies!
Spoiler alert.
kills Dumbledore.
Damn you, Alan Rickman. Rest in peace, though. He's a
this
treasure.
one was great. This is another great book.
This is the quest. To me,
And this is the
Harry's
big twist.
taken exactly. Harry's taken classes from
The
Dumbledore
quest.
in the background where they are hunting down something we don't even know. Guys, we're going to find out by the end of it that it's something called a Horcrux.
Yeah.
And I would say we're already at midnight release parties at the Barnes
Yeah.
and Noble.
Oh, hell
yes.
And
these
this is
God.
another
are-
one. This one
Harry
also
Potter
has a,
craze is
Yeah,
in full swing.
super
Movies
huge.
have been released at this point.
Yeah.
And this one had a surprising amount, going back and re-listening to them and all, a surprising amount of teen romance drama. Even
Oh, really?
more than, like, Goblet of Fire and Order of Phoenix had some too. This one goes all out in the movie too, because you've got, Hermione and Ron developing feelings
Yeah,
for each other. and
you've
getting
moved
confused and that
beyond
sort of
the
thing.
like, well, Harry's the hero and
Yeah.
Hermione's the
Because
girl.
at this point he's
They're
like
gonna get
16,
together.
so they're at
Is this
that
when
age,
him and Ginny start hitting it off, too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
when we get to the movies, I want to talk about a really weird scene with that.
I know what we're doing.
Okay, yeah.
Well, we're going past that one, and you guys do remember the Half-Blood Prince angle of it. It's a mysterious potions book that Harry gets
Yes,
that he
it
has
is.
the answers into. And
Finds
again,
out he's
as I
written
mentioned
by
before,
Snape.
he's the original Prince child.
Snape is the half.
Which again, while I didn't read these, everyone I knew and their mother did. Like being told at the time, like, oh, so I'm reading this chapter where Harry's reading this, and it's like, oh, so you're
yeah.
reading about a character reading, and you're reading what they're reading while they read it.
Ooh, that's pretty rough.
is pretty crazy.
That's a never-ending
she-
story.
She got the entire world excited about reading.
Yeah, reading and then reading, yeah.
But you find out more about Snape's backstory and Snape's relationship to Harry's parents.
Yeah, that tragic backstory. Can we talk about if that's a tragic backstory real quick? Or is that more the way the movies portray it you want to get into?
Basically, Snape was an outcast loner who was cucked by Harry's dad.
Ooh, that got some real
but-
vicious reaction.
That's funny, though.
Vicious reactions, but
That's a funny way to put it.
a lot of
That's true.
analogs to.
He got
current
friend
times.
zoned.
Yeah, he got friend zone.
He got friend zone, and he
was just
joined
some
the alt
filthy
right
incel.
of
Basically.
wizardry.
Wow,
and fucking
because
Death
of that.
Eaters.
Yeah.
Yes.
If only
Um,
all this magic and you never gave me a spell. I don't know, something like that.
And you had Harry's dad, the cool jock, coming in and saying, "Yo, what up, girl?" And then
Yeah, he was the cool jock of wizard
James
school.
Potter
literally was.
He was the
And
Quidditch
Harry
star.
finds out about this. Like, he always thought of his father as like an honorable guy. Then he finds out his father was kind of a jackass and kind of a bully in school.
Okay,
and he
but
was-
here's the thing: was he really a jackass and bully, or are we hearing it from the perspective
you
of
see
some weird
Snape's memory.
outsider?
To
In
go
memory-
with Jacob's side of
Yeah.
it, Sirius Black, even the way that he kind of talks about it at the end is like, well, yeah, me and James were always up to no good. That's what was cool about us. And it's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. Yeah, it's like
Which is
meeting
the same
your
with Harry,
dad's
but
high
they're-
school
but
friend.
Harry's
yeah,
a
you're
super
like,
nice
oh,
guy
no.
to everybody, whereas his dad was kind of a bully and bullied Snape, and so did Sirius. And Snape, yeah, he was like an outcast loner loser, but these kind of people get pushed to things, and
Yeah.
If only they all had detention together, they could have realized they have more in common.
Yeah. You're saying
Muggles and
Order,
breakfast.
I think that's fairly tragic.
You're saying Order of the Phoenix
it?
was
I
kind of a
don't think it
slog
is.
for you. Half-Blood Prince, when I was reading this as a
really?
kid, I remember thinking,
one held up better
I know
on
what
reread
Deathly
than-
Hallows
than
is.
Order
Like,
of
let's
Phoenix
get
did.
to it.
yeah.
So let's get to the
Let's
Deathly
get to
Hallows,
it.
the big finale.
Number 7, Harry Potter Deathly Hallows 2007 wraps up the series. Its high school dropout and friends can't seem to leave school behind, must finish saving the world.
Man, these log lines are just amazing.
Well, if you guys remember, in number 6, he drops out of school, says, I've got to go and finish what
That's right.
Dumbledore started. I have to destroy the Horcruxes.
Yeah. This is my mission. I don't need wizard school anymore.
And this book
I'm
was
already
great.
the best.
We'll talk about it more in the movies. This is like one of my favorite movies was Deathly Hallows Part 1 because I just love the atmosphere of it, and they're just kind of hiding out in the woods.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it now, but I agree with you, and we'll
Yeah.
talk more about that. when we
Yeah,
get into the
definitely.
movies.
Here is my issue as a reader in this universe. Number 6, we destroy one Horcrux. We get the Gaunt Ring, right?
In number 7, here's the rest of them.
Oh, yeah.
And
well,
number
they had so much
7,
catching up to
here's
do, yeah.
5 more. We had 7 books to fucking put this
Yeah,
throughout.
but things go so badly
I-
for him for so
yeah.
long, and
We
then
didn't even know
Dumbledore
they
dies.
existed.
I just
I mean,
don't
do you
even
think
understand
it's-
why
yeah,
we
do you
couldn't
think it's a
pepper this
rushed
through.
ending
It
where it's
feels
like-
to me
No, I
the
don't-
MacGuffin aspect of it is rushed. I don't think the climax is,
Yeah.
but to throw in this stuff at the end of like, and also there's these 3 things called the Deathly Hallows. You've always had one. It's the invisibility cloak, and here's the Elder Wand. It's gonna be very
And,
important,
well,
but it's only in this
basically-
book. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she had a lot of kind of MacGuffin explaining to do in this one.
Yeah.
But you also get a speech from Dumbledore in the 6th book, Half-Blood Prince, where he talks about how he made a lot of mistakes with raising Harry, basically, and not telling him certain things. And so now, after he dies, Harry's getting all this information that Dumbledore was kind of holding
Hiding
back
and
from
building
him to
up
protect
throughout
him.
the world, yeah.
Yeah, but Dumbledore
All right.
was trying to protect him, but made a mistake. And yeah, so Harry has to do a lot of figuring things out for himself in this one.
Could have been 3 Horcruxes.
Which
That's what I'm saying, Mike. Thank you.
A bit excessive.
doesn't need to be done.
I split my soul.
Especially if you're going to
All right.
7 is the
wrap
the
them all up in
magical,
one book.
has special magical
Yeah, it
properties
must,
as a
it
number.
must.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dumbledore's dead at this point. That is what it is. We've moved past it. What death in the finale here hit you the hardest?
Ooh, my favorite character, Remus Lupin,
that's
gets taken
super
out.
sad.
He's the dark arts teacher who's also a werewolf. He's killed. The sad part of it is also his lover Tonks is killed. So
Yeah,
their child
but then
Teddy
their
is
child-
just left to be raised by
The new
someone
Harry
else.
Potter, I
Exactly.
mean,
That
really.
just bums
I'll
me
say
out.
2 things. One, going back to book 5, I wanted to mention the saddest death for me in the whole series is Sirius Black dying.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't mention that yet. That's super sad. Basically, Harry loses.
We're having a
every-
good time, aren't we, Harry?
The theme throughout Harry Potter is Harry losing every parental figure that he ever has throughout the entire
Wow.
series. His parents when he was a kid, Sirius, Dumbledore, Lupin, everybody dies around Harry.
That lines up with
You
J.K.
always
Rowling.
got me, though, Harry. Hagrid.
He does have Hagrid.
But-
Get
yeah.
back to the
I think
shed.
the
Shame you
saddest
could
death
never
for me
live with
in
me
the
because I'm
last
like a
one-
slow-witted guy who
Yeah,
lives in the
I
woods.
don't get to live on the grounds, none.
But yeah, Jacob, you're
in
saying?
Deathly Hallows, the saddest death for me in the finale had to be the Weasley twin that dies because I love the Weasley twins.
man.
I,
I believe
really
it's
identified
George,
that
right?
as them
Yeah.
as kids. I think it's George.
We snaked mine.
But I love both of them, and I was like, oh no, one of them dies and the other one gets to live.
A
But he has
phantom
to,
limb for the rest of their
Yeah.
life. I mean, that is dark.
so that's rough. That's
Yeah,
rough.
that
And also, okay, sorry.
No, I'm with you. That was mine. You snaked it. There was a stat that I read, or a factoid, that like the only time they saw each other as old men is when they drank that potion that one time.
Oh, Mike.
And then that's it. And that's so sad to me.
Damn.
So that's why that is my saddest death.
Yeah.
The Weasley twins.
That's a good one. And I love them as characters. I really identify.
They're
Yeah,
great.
Fred
They
and
get the
George.
Marauders map. They're the you know.
I always liked them more than Harry and his friends. I was like, can we just like hang out with Fred and George? Like,
Goofing
Well, you say
around.
that. If we're talking prequels, I would love to see James Potter's old crew. You said that Sirius is your favorite. I loved Remus. I love all those guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bummer.
Yeah, Back in Black. Harry
Yeah.
Potter.
How
Then
about
to
you,
mention a
Joe?
couple-
Favorite
oh,
death?
sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Joe, favorite
I don't wanna
death?
steal
Oh,
the
I'm
show.
mostly just listening. I didn't
Yeah.
read the book. I only saw the movie. So.
Oh,
Some
that's
other
right.
super sad deaths in Deathly Hallows. You got Hedwig dying. You got Dobby dying.
Dobby,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would say, is one
Yeah.
that, you know.
His first and last words are Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And Hedwig dies protecting Harry when they're escaping in the very beginning.
Damn.
Just fucking sniped off, man. It's
Yeah.
pretty
They're just
fucking
like,
brutal.
oh, Hedwig's dead. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
Wow.
It's like, what?
I remember like
I
when
love
people
that
went to the
album.
midnight release, that was the first real thing that they had to say the next day. Is
Right.
like,
Because that happened.
oh,
in sort
Hedwig
of the
died.
beginning.
Because it happened so fast that
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it's like when you start a video game, like the first, you know,
Is your
thing
companion.
that happens that you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like people have a lot of affection for the pets, you know. And
Well,
Hedwig,
obviously, I mean, you've seen this thing grow up with him, really. Like, he's
yeah,
been
Hedwig
around
brought him the
forever.
first letter, you know, it's great. Colin, what's your saddest death?
I
we
went,
hit him.
I'm
Or
sorry.
he said,
Oh, that's
We've
right.
gone
That's
around
right.
the table.
All right.
all right. So
Let me jump in on this, though. We'll keep moving forward with the books. How about the supplementary material? So Fantastic Beasts was published. It
Yep.
was just a little compendium that, you know, and it existed in world.
Yeah, Selma
and
really
Rose,
into.
too.
I owned
Yeah.
the two. So they had two small little books. Fantastic Beasts was one of them. The other was Quidditch Through the Ages, and they had little. It was cool because they had little drawings in them too. They were basically like textbooks.
Yeah,
written
they
like
were
textbooks.
they were real textbooks released in the Harry Potter universe that were then repurposed as.
They were great. They were
supplemental material
super
for
fun.
fans.
So cool.
I enjoyed those.
A
yeah.
D&D monsters manual of
Yeah.
Harry Potter creatures.
But I mean, it's
right?
it's an interesting point that like Fantastic Beasts, yes, it's a movie franchise, and we're watching all this from the perspective now. But like, that's a textbook that Harry
Yeah,
reads.
it is a book in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That's part of his supplemental education, right?
Yeah.
Well, how about this? The last big publication for it, then. We got to talk about it. It's the play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, 2016. This is co-written with J.K. Rowling, so completely in canon.
Yep.
It
I wonder how much
concludes the
input
future
she had
of the
on
series.
this,
Who knows?
See, this is another thing where it's like,
This one has gotten a lot of bad reactions. So my little sister, who is obsessed with Harry Potter to the point where at her wedding, you know, her groom is coming out with a lightsaber, she's coming out with a wand, loves this.
Wow.
This
that is a real Normies Like Us wedding.
That's great. That is great.
Yeah.
this, you know, it's got so much conflicting material. It talks about the future in a way where you're like, oh, this isn't kind of where I wanted to see
For
these
me, it's
characters
like a
end
bad
up.
fanfic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not a fanfic. It's written by.
But it's
her.
co-written. Like it's written by two other people. So those are the fans, I think.
Sure, but she could have vetoed anything at any point. We
Yeah.
didn't need to see little baby Harry Potter going back at it as a
No.
Slytherin.
Well, let me
like
ask
you
you
said,
this.
it's written as a play.
Do you
It's
guys
performed as
know
a play.
anything about it?
I have not read it, but I know the
I have not.
basic.
I have not
plot of
read it, but I have had
And I'm
my
not
little
interested.
sister angrily yell the plot at me because she was not necessarily crazy about all the things they did either.
Yeah, I know
And
the
she was
basic
in
plot
London when
points.
the play was going on. and
I
tried
have
to
no
get
interest in
tickets, like,
seeing
every
it.
day.
Definitely
Or
never seen
reading
it.
it.
It's about
No.
time travel and alternate realities.
Yes, and it's Harry's kids, Harry and Snape's kids,
Harry,
or not
Harry and
Harry and Malfoy's.
that's a
kids.
different fanfic.
That's a different,
No,
No,
it
but Harry.
stars Albus
So
Dumbledore.
you know, you see in the prologue of the last book, you see Harry and Ginny end up together. Hermione, Ron end up together. Draco has a son now, so it's about
Named
the
Scorpius.
era of yeah. And
Good naming.
Albus Severus
Yep.
Potter goes by Al in this play, I guess. So.
I mean,
Sirius
it's literally
Potter,
just
his
showing.
older brother.
I feel like the epilogue was written to be like, and see, everything's a circle.
Yeah.
Time's a flat circle.
Yeah.
You know, like we're going back. Harry Potter's taking his kids. It's
Yeah.
all the same. They're worried about the Sorting Hat.
Right, but we didn't
And then
need to
this-
see
this time travel
what his
aspect.
kids are doing in school.
Yeah.
Well, they're
Right.
traveling through time and getting different perspectives on how
Yeah,
they feel
yeah.
about their role models.
Now, do you guys know the thrust of the conflict? Who is the character that puts all of the other students in jeopardy?
Yes.
She is a fellow student at Hogwarts at the moment. What child could she be? Voldemort's.
Yes.
Wow.
It's about
What a riddle.
Voldemort's prodigy
Thomas
is
Riddle.
like trying to bring him back. Anyways,
I mean, that's an interesting hook. I mean,
Yeah. That's probably the more niche stuff, guys. If you didn't catch this play, it was, of course, a bestseller. You know, we should argue J.K. Rowling has had a ton of successes in the writing world. This was one as well, but boy, not received as well.
No.
Not by, I think, diehard fans, because whenever you try to go forward and explain things, that it's like the whole point, I think, of Harry Potter is that you read them and you grow up with them as a kid, and your future could be anything, and Harry Potter's future could be
all a
anything.
mystery.
So to have it be like, oh, and this is everything that happens, it's like, oh, well, not my version of Harry Potter. My version of Harry Potter is doing things like I'm doing.
That's the Star Wars
and also,
problem.
I think the original book series is such a self-contained story that it's like, Voldemort's dead. Do we really need to see, like, you know, what Harry's children? Let's see some other children that, you know, could be set in a different time period or whatever.
Or let's not see anything and just let it be. It was a great
Well,
thing.
I think
But how do we make money?
I don't know. I disagree. I think there's plenty of spin-off potential within the wizarding world.
Of Harry
I just
Potter.
don't think it needs to be related to the main Harry Potter story as much.
Yeah, it's that's like the Star Wars thing. People are pissed off that, like, you know, the
Everyone's
Skywalker
gotta be
family is
related
not
to
at the
everyone.
center, right? And
Well,
I'm
that's
one
my-
of
That's my
why we're
argument that they
seeing-
shouldn't be, because everyone does not have to be related to the original characters in the story. Let's see some other characters in that same universe.
Which is what we're getting in the movies now with Fantastic Beasts
Yeah.
and where to find their franchises.
And I think that a lot of what we're going to be talking about regarding the books, because the plots do stay fairly true, we can kind of roll this over into the movie section. They've been huge smash hits, and there's a new one coming out in next week.
On Friday. From
as
the
of-
time
yeah.
this is
Super
released.
excited to see it. So I did want to mention that in the books, there's some themes running throughout the series that I think are kind of interesting in terms of for young adult fiction, especially touching on these themes. So obviously you have the allegory of the Death Eaters being like the Nazis or the KKK, and you get that whole allegory with Voldemort being the wizarding Hitler, etc. Touches a lot on, like, racism, anti-Semitism, all these
Mudbloods,
isms,
muggles,
you know.
right.
The other theme that I think is really interesting in the books is the anti-authority that's going throughout the series. So Harry and his friends, they, they're always not obeying.
Breaking the rules.
They're always breaking the rules. They're always going off doing their own thing.
Taking flames into
Even-
the
Fuck
library.
teachers.
Yeah, even people they respect, like Dumbledore, they'll say, we're going to do our own thing anyways.
But
They're
as we
always doing
find
that.
out, Dumbledore's hiding things. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you can't really trust it.
But we also find out that even adult characters that we see as wise make mistakes, and people are not perfect. And so J.K. Rowling has a really strong theme of not just listening to an adult or an authority figure because they're in a position of power.
I like that.
But
Think
going
of
with your own
yourself.
gut. And the other thing is, so in the later books, there's the newspaper and the government who are actively trying to
Propaganda
smear
machines.
Harry and Dumbledore and all that stuff because they're secretly infiltrated by Voldemort. So it's just saying you can't trust the press, you can't trust the government, you can't trust your school, so you gotta
that really
only
is
trust
relevant
yourself.
to now.
So
God.
and that's something that's gone throughout her whole series. So I think
Which
it's
is,
kind of
interesting to point out that, like, J.K. Rowling is politically outspoken. She's
Yeah.
even though she's not an American, she's very anti-Trump and constantly on Twitter in beefs with fans who are like,
Right.
why don't you stay out of politics? And she's like, why don't you fuck off?
Yeah, it's like,
Which I
I
really
wrote-
respect about her.
I wrote, a very, very popular book series that has very heavy political themes in it. Don't you think that, gives me some kind of perspective on things? But no,
Very true.
and people are saying, "Oh, I used to love your books. Now I'm going to burn them or whatever." It's like, well,
Yeah.
you still
People
lost.
were
See,
burning the books
I
from
don't
the
want to.
beginning.
I don't want to quote the tweet because I can't remember it exactly. But like you were just saying, there's a great moment where someone was like, "I just burned all your series," and she was like, "Well, you still bought it, you dumb piece of shit." So it's like I really do respect her political beliefs, and Jacob, I think those themes are admirable
think
and
challenging
good for young
authority-
people.
Not just
Definitely.
listening to just because you read something in the news or you read something online or someone in the government tells you something doesn't make it true, doesn't make it right. You should listen to your instincts and your gut.
Don't take what you're given. Go get what you're worth.
Yeah, and if it sounds like something you already agree with, just blindly go with it.
Do you think in their world they have fake owls? Oh, that owl wasn't supposed to bring you that. That's
Well,
fake owl.
interesting because the Daily Prophet, which is the
Fake newts.
newspaper, was
I
based
thought you were
off
going
of
with the owls with drones.
Oh, God.
So the Daily Prophet was based off of the Daily Mail, who is a very popular tabloid in England, and
Which
J.K.
is
Rowling
why
has
all the
had
headlines are sensationalized.
Yeah, because J.K. Rowling has also had a years-long beef with the Daily Mail because they wrote certain things about her, and she said, "Well, that's not true." blah blah blah. So that was basically fake
she's
news if you want
writing
to call it
what
that.
she knows.
Sure.
Yeah,
And that's also not necessarily any of anyone's business. I mean, Stephen King has done a great job, as we talked about in his episode, of like keeping his private life private.
Yeah, the Rita
because
Skeeter
of the
character is
success of Harry Potter, she had a really difficult time.
right.
Getting
People
away
are
from
writing
that.
things about her like divorce and all that stuff.
Yeah, which is like bullshit, and
Yeah.
like an author of a child's book should not be going through
Right.
that in the press.
And the character of Rita Skeeter is a great takedown of like that kind of tabloid journalism, which
yeah,
it's really interesting.
that's great. I never put that together until today. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we got Jacob on the cast.
my hot
He's the
takes.
Harry Potter expert.
He's the Harry Potter expert.
Yeah, baby.
He's working his magic on the themes.
I think, but overall, I think it's a good influence on kids. Like, yeah, I think it's great. All kids
Your
should read
magic,
Harry
you
Potter.
can be-
If I had kids, it'd be like one of the first books I showed them. I'd be like, read this.
I would feel comfortable saying everyone I know has at least read some Harry Potter. My
Yeah.
parents, my younger sisters, my older brother,
Oh, yeah.
me, my friends. I mean, I think everyone has at least given this a shot, whether it's for them or not.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And if you haven't read the books, you've probably seen the movies. So let's go ahead and jump over and talk about a lot of the themes and things that carried over from the books to the movies of the Harry Potter universe.
Let's do it. Wingardium Leviosa.
All right, normies, we just finished potions class, but I got a little bit of time here if the staircase ever finishes rotating. So I just want to talk with my buddies about the movies of the Harry Potter universe. The paintings are looking at me. I'm a little thrown
But do you
off,
know
but
the
let's go
password?
for it.
I was
Get
going to
into the
say,
common
I
room.
can't get back into my bedroom because
I
I forgot.
fucking forgot
I'm
it.
screwed.
Yeah. I think somebody might have hexed me. So
Do you guys think if you were in this universe, you'd probably be the Neville Longbottom of it all? I probably
No, I would be Snape.
I would
I
be
would be Malfoy.
Snape.
either or.
You would be
Voldemort.
Malfoy.
I keep calling Malfoy
You'd be a
Snape, but I would be
fancy boy.
Malfoy. I think.
I would be Neville Longbottom.
I would be Luna. I'd just be a fucking weird
You
dude.
would. You'd be a weird dude.
Yeah, just hanging out.
there.
Yeah.
Luna Lovegood.
Yeah, I mean Luna
Loved
Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood.
Yeah.
I was into her in the movies.
I'm not quite that
Yeah.
weird, but maybe I'd be like one of the
Yeah.
Weasley twins, kind of mischief. I could
Yeah.
be doing that.
Just doing bad guy stuff in the background with a good light.
Bad guy stuff, goofy
Yeah,
stuff.
but
It's
that's
just
what I'm
a
saying.
prank, bro.
Yeah, it's just a prank, bro.
yeah, I'd
See,
be
to
having
me,
fun. I
I-
wouldn't be taking it too seriously.
They're
for sure.
Gryffindor because their whole family is Gryffindor or whatever, but they should have been Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
They're pranksters,
sure.
they're fun, they're
Yeah,
lighthearted.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Weasleys?
The
Weasleys.
twins.
Yeah. Well, if you think about like Hermione, should have been Ravenclaw, like the smartest
Yeah.
girl in school.
But she's willing to put others
got a
before
heroic
her
heart.
and get bad grades if it means
Yeah,
saving the world.
but I'm writing these books
That's
and I
true.
need them all to share scenes together, so they're all going to the
They
same
need to be in the
fucking
common
house.
room.
My other hot take
Yeah.
about the Harry Potter series is that Hermione, if Harry listened to every time Hermione said something, if Harry listened, his life would have been so much better. Hermione's always right in the books, and Harry is almost always wrong. So
Should we get a T-shirt made that just says Hermione was right?
Hermione was right.
I'm just saying, maybe that's why
So,
the way J.K. Rowling
is this
wrote
another
it,
one
but
of her themes?
literally Hermione figures out everything before
Listen to the
anyone
smart
else
people
throughout the
around you.
series.
Might be.
Right.
All right, guys, let's talk movies.
Because we have 7 books and 8 movies.
7 books, 8 movies. That's the only difference, Mike, is that the last one is split up in 2. So I'm not going to repeat the titles. I'll just take them down and tell you the directors real quick. The first one, Christopher Columbus, 2001. He also does the second one as well. They're kid movies, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Kid
very much
movies,
so.
Friday, straight from school to the movie theater for me.
Yeah.
They
Wow.
were
And I
big.
think Chris Columbus, he was the right director for those kind of movies.
Home Alone, the writer of Home
Absolutely.
Alone. It's like, come on.
I will say-
And these were for kids. I mean,
Yeah.
they were light.
I will say Chamber of Secrets is my least favorite, and it's the last movie where they tried to adapt every single thing from the book into the movie, and it's the longest movie in the series.
Is it real?
Yeah,
it is.
Besides the
super
one they cut in
bloated.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours long. It's super bloated. They try to stick every single thing from the book.
And
It's
there's
so
a chess
long
match at the
Slow.
end, right?
No,
Yeah,
no, that's
that's
the
the
first
first one.
movie. That's the climax
See,
of the first
see,
second-
I always
this
get
is the
these fucking
basilisk.
things.
But after that, they started cutting things out, and some people are like, "Oh, they cut this and this from the book."
This
that I
isn't
like.
right.
But
I
if
need
they fit
this.
every single thing,
Yeah.
the movies would be like 4 hours each, so they couldn't do that.
Same thing people said about Lord of the Rings. I know.
Sure,
Yeah.
but so
But he
many
managed to
people
do
in
it.
my life have come up to me to tell me about house elves' human rights, where I'm
Oh,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
sweep it under the rug, folks. Sweep it under the rug. I do not need it.
Yeah.
Oh, Dobby.
So we're talking number 3. We're talking Alfonso Cuarón, guys.
The best movie in the franchise. in
I
my
agree.
opinion.
2004.
Masterpiece.
He's
Gary
convinced.
It's a
Oldman.
spicy meatball.
Okay, just because you said it, Joe. Gary Oldman, is that maybe the best casting in
Amazing.
the
Oh,
universe?
come on.
Daniel Radcliffe, I mean, they would have a very argumentative, combative relationship on set where Gary Oldman would constantly push him and say, dude, no, like, go all out. Like, you need to do this. You need to do this. Like, come on, feel it. Really feel these scenes. And Daniel Radcliffe would say, if I didn't act with him, I wouldn't be the actor I am today.
Yeah.
Like, Gary
I
Oldman
believe
is
it.
so
Gary Oldman's
good at
great.
just
I would
pulling it
say-
out of you.
Is Gary Oldman not a fucking master of disguise?
Oh, he's great.
Like,
People
Sirius
say
Black,
Daniel Day-Lewis
Dracula.
and that thing, kind of thing. Gary Oldman
No.
can disappear into a role.
And he doesn't take fucking 4 years off between
Yes.
movies.
Yeah,
And
Gary
he looks
Oldman.
so cool.
Gary
as
Oldman,
Sirius
actor of
Black.
our time.
Professional,
wanna say, yeah.
Batman. He's a fucking man.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman, great casting. My other favorite casting from the movies is got to be Alan Rickman as Snape.
Oh,
Again,
yes.
another,
I
I mean,
miss you.
Hans Gruber, but
Yeah.
like another actor
R.I.P..
who, as people who live in
Underappreciated.
LA, we see actors trying to make it. I mean, I'm sure we all know them. Alan Rickman didn't come into his own until he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
role
Die Hard.
was so fucking good.
But I mean,
But
yeah.
that's Sirius Black, not feeling comfortable in your skin, you know? I mean, he is fucking good.
But Alan Rickman
Oldman.
as Snape, like that's what you imagine when you see Snape in your mind now. Maybe it wasn't. when
he
you
even
first
looks
read
like
it, but
he's drawn on the covers and
Yeah,
stuff.
and the
man.
way he
And the
talks,
little chapter
It's
prints
kind
in
of
the
like
book.
drawl that he has, like perfect.
Potter.
Mr.
Fascinating.
Potter.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the lore behind that? So supposedly, when he was first offered that role in the first film, Sirius Black was not the developed character that we knew because they only had a couple books at that time. J.K. Rowling wrote him a letter that said, I promise you, this is where I'm going. This is a special character, this universe. Please consider it.
Wait, for Snape, not
For Snape.
Oh, okay. You said Sirius
Really?
Black. So
Oh, I
confused.
apologize. No,
So that
I mean,
was
the
for
whole-
Alan,
For Alan
Rickman.
Rickman
She
for
was that
Snape,
passionate
yeah.
about him.
Wow.
I mean, yeah,
Big
Snape's
Die
a
Hard
hugely
fan.
important character, and if you just see the first movie or the first book, you don't realize it yet.
just a
But-
jackass.
He thinks he's an asshole teacher, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll talk about it a little later into this section, but those insights from her to write Alan Rickman a letter. I mean, she's writing the screenplays for these new Fantastic Beasts
Right,
films.
yeah.
She's definitely got
She
an
did not
eye
wright the
for
screenplays for
movies.
the book adaptation.
No, but she's writing
new
the screenplays
Fantastic
for
books, yeah.
And
Fantastic.
technically, if we're just going down that avenue, she's not even a contributing producer. She's, of course, an executive producer through development, but she's not even a contributing producer
No, she's literally just
until
I'm getting a
the
check.
final part 2. She
Yeah.
actually started working with
But
the
she
film,
did have
so.
some say of like who they picked for directors and stuff. Like she wanted Alfonso Cuarón. She actually wanted Guillermo del Toro before they cast Alfonso
Would've been
Cuarón.
so
And then Alfonso
cool.
Cuarón didn't want to do it originally, and then Guillermo del Toro told him he should do it.
Alfonso Cuarón called it baby material.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But then Guillermo del Toro
The
told him to
gravity
do it,
of
and he
that
did it, and it
statement.
Oh,
But I also
Mike.
wanted to mention another casting thing. Obviously, you have the two Dumbledores. You have Richard Harris as
That's
the first
right.
Dumbledore, and then you have Michael Gambon. A lot of people prefer Richard Harris. Of course, he died.
Tragically, you know.
Yeah, but he didn't want to originally do him because that was not the kind of character that he was known
No.
for. But then his granddaughter told him, "If you don't do this movie, I'm never going to talk to you again." And then he decided to do it. So, fun fact.
great.
Viggo Mortensen, same thing. He didn't care about Lord of the Rings. His son said, "We got to do it," and he did it. you know?
So let's talk a little about since we're on casting the original kids.
Yeah.
I mean, can we
I
talk
got
about
really
how
lucky.
we watched?
Can you believe how that
You know,
turned out?
Emma. What's her name? Emma
Watson.
Emma Watson. Daniel
was a treasure.
Radcliffe.
I think
and
Daniel Radcliffe.
Rupert Grint.
Rupert Grint. We watched these kids grow up on screen.
That's
man.
exactly
they were
right.
Yeah, they got really
babies.
lucky with the original casting that they grew up so well.
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe, I don't think he's a great actor. I think the best actor by far of the original three is Emma Watson, but he fits the role really well.
Yeah.
And they're all doing fascinating things now. Like Daniel Radcliffe was in a lot of hot water. I guess 10 years now.
For smoking cigs and walking dogs?
He did Equus.
For fucking a horse.
Equus,
Equus.
He's done some weird indies and stuff.
He's done some weird indies. Woman in Black, which was another like
Swiss
horror
Army
movie.
Man recently, though.
Swiss Army Man, big role.
I can't believe Jacob's saying he doesn't like him. I like him in everything I've seen him in.
He's better in... He's not great in some of the Harry Potter movies.
He's not great in the first 3 Harry Potter movies. Or 2 Harry Potter movies. Now hearing that, like... Gary Oldman basically pushed him to the edge. I can see it, man, and some of his later shit, and also his choices, like Swiss Army Man, for the guy who played Harry Potter to be like,
cool.
I'll be a corpse who makes fart jokes. Like that's fucking bold.
Then you have like Woman in Black.
He bought a ice cream truck and
I
just
don't know
like
what Rupert
cruised
Grint's doing
around.
Yep.
He bought an ice cream truck
Yeah,
and
that's
just
a
like
big
gave
myth
shit
on
out.
him.
He was like the weird. I mean, he was the Weasley, you know.
Yeah, and Emma Watson was,
Emma
that
Watson
Hollywood
obviously-
darling.
Hollywood darling who hated being Harry Potter, but is or in Harry Potter. But now she's got a bunch of humanitarian work under her belt.
Let me ask you guys this. I have some British friends, female friends, who say they take umbrage with the fact that Emma Watson is as attractive as she is as Hermione. If you remember in the books, specifically,
Right.
the big detail
buck
is her
teeth,
wild hair
curly
and
hair.
her uneven teeth.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
in the
you
first
can't-
movie, in the second movie, she has the bushy hair. In later movies, they
straighten the
her hair
shit
and
out of
make it
it.
much.
Yeah.
Well, they also
Yeah.
can't help that like
She
grew
up
into an
she's-
attractive woman. Like they cast a little.
Oh, I can
girl.
spot a fugly kid. I could cast a fugly kid.
Well, they
you
cast
said
Neville
that.
Longbottom.
Yeah, and
they
Neville
want
Longbottom,
Hollywood
the sexiest
fugly,
man
not
in Britain
right,
in
you're-
2011.
So you try as you might, you might end up with a really handsome
I bet they
grown
did
up.
try.
you know?
Well,
Well, I mean, at the
Neville
end of
will
the
get
day,
ugly.
it's
Son of a
still a
bitch.
Hollywood
Damn it.
blockbuster. They don't want to cast ugly
Yeah.
kids.
But
you
she
know?
was supposed to have the buck. They gave her the frizzy hair, like
Yeah.
Jacob said, for the first 2.
And after that, and also, like, if you go back and watch Sorcerer's Stone, her personality is totally different in the first movie. She's much more bossy, much more like...
Yes, but these are also like when you tell a little kid, and I think they were phenomenal. I'm not trying to knock them at all. But when you say like your character is a bossy little girl,
You're
she's going to be
smart.
like,
Be
okay,
smart.
I'm going to be bossy and smart. Like
Right,
those are the
yeah.
two.
They definitely got more subtle.
categories that she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, as she got older, she
Yeah.
was a better actress. That makes sense to me.
Definitely.
I think the casting, though, top to bottom, is solid. I mean,
Really good.
George and the Weasley brothers and
And
the
J.K.
parents.
Rowling had a rule that she wanted only British actors cast in the entire series. There's no American actors in the entire
False.
series. Is that false?
Vern Troyer plays the
one of the small
gnome.
teachers.
No, the guy in the banking. Lets him into the fucking library or whatever.
Okay, well, maybe for
They
specific
dubbed his voice.
exceptions,
Jacob,
but-
I have
but
heard
you're
that
right. She
'cause
wanted that.
studios
Yeah.
went against her when she wanted Robbie Coltrane to play Hagrid. They said, "What about Robin Williams?" And she said,
Like,
"Guys,
no.
I need British
Can you
UK
imagine
actors."
Robin Williams as Hagrid, though?
Can I get really like imperialistic on it for a second? I respect the shit out of that, and I
Yeah.
wish that Americans would follow that more often.
Ah.
Because the
Well,
fact that like
half the Marvel,
All
half
the
the
British-
Marvel universe is not American,
That they're
like,
British guys.
kills me. Like the fact
Yeah.
that Spider-Man, a
Maybe
kid
there's
from
better
Queens,
actors coming
is
out of
not
England
a
than
kid
America.
from Queens, kind of kills me.
Yeah.
The fact that
that's
Christian
true.
Bale was the best Batman for a long time, and he's not even American. Like I really admire the like. No, they're British stories. They're British characters. I want them to be played by British actors. That's pretty fucking
yeah.
ballsy of her to
And the
do.
studios
And-
complied.
and the studios complied. And we should mention, we haven't talked yet, these are all Warner Brothers movies, which is
Right.
currently Warner Brothers' biggest property, even
Yeah.
though they own DC
I
Comics.
mean, they shit the bed with DC so hard that
God,
all they've got
Joe,
left
that
is Harry Potter.
upsetting. You're
Yeah.
right.
Oh, there are
Yeah.
3 museums honored to Harry Potter on the lot alone. There are only a handful of Batman
Yeah, when I did the
things.
studio tour, like the 2 big things were Batman and
Harry Potter.
Potter.
And that's it.
Those dope miniatures that they use for the castles and
Yeah.
stuff. That look dope.
And like if you go to London, like my my brother and my sister, both my sisters I think, have been to the big museum in London where you can see everything. I mean, it's really a monument to filmmaking what they accomplished.
And to go back to casting for a minute, like obviously 100% or almost 100% British or UK actors.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Irish, Scottish.
99.9%.
Almost every big actor that you can think of out of England, like in the last 30 years, has been in Harry Potter as one role or another. You got, Helena Bonham Carter, you got, Gary Oldman, you got a million different people.
One of my favorites that we haven't even mentioned, David Tennant, Doctor Who as Barty Crouch
yeah.
Jr.
Yeah.
is so fucking
great one.
good.
Even young Tom Riddle is related to actual Voldemort.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
It's like his cousin or something.
His
Young
nephew,
Tom
I
Riddle,
believe.
who
Nephew,
would go
yeah, I'm
on
sorry.
to be in Fear the Walking Dead.
Huh. I don't watch that stuff, so that's crazy.
He was
All
the
right.
heroin addict.
I'm going to keep moving with the movies here, though,
do it.
guys. Number 4, directed by Mike Newell. This is the first PG-13 movie in 2005.
And this is the rise of Robert Patterson as
Before
Cedric Diggory,
before
who then
Twilight,
went
before
on to
he was
become-
anybody, and they said, "Ooh, who's this guy? Let's cast him in Twilight."
Did you
And then his
know
life changed forever.
contrarian girls who during Twilight would say, well, I liked him better in Harry Potter?
Yes, I did.
I did as well.
Yeah.
Did you know contrarian girls who were like, well, his music is really what you
Oh,
need to pay attention
no.
to.
But
He's like a folk
God.
singer.
Can I say that Robert Pattinson is another one of those kid actors who grew up, started making really interesting choices, and is in like a lot of good movies now, and I really like respect him as an actor.
Hell yeah.
He was in this movie called Good Time. Super recommend.
So good. How about The Rover? Have you seen that?
No, I
Yeah,
haven't seen
oh,
it.
Rover's
so good.
Wild.
Yeah, I've not seen any of these. All right.
These
All right.
are all smaller
He gets
pictures.
points.
You know,
It's
the
just
other
like, oh, I
the
don't
Twilight
wanna be
girl too,
Edward.
also doing interesting things.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Now, how about Order of the Phoenix? This is the first one, 2007, directed by David Yates. And guys, going forward here, even up into Fantastic Beasts, he's directing the rest
he's
of
the
them.
man.
Harry Potter
Yeah.
director now.
This movie was fascinating for me because I saw it. The books were over at this point.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We are at a point where the books have all been released. I saw this movie at midnight because these became midnight releases when I was of age.
There was no Star Wars at that time.
No. I saw it at midnight. Got out around 3:30. Got on a plane at 4:30 to come to LA to visit my brother.
Oh, man.
And it was like, oh, this is crazy. We got to LA. That morning, we went and saw the movie at the Chinese Grauman Theater.
Oh, wow.
So I saw that movie twice in 24 hours.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice. Order of the Phoenix.
And that was that's Umbridge, right? That's her first
Yes.
undertaking.
That's where she
The
takes
Umbridge
over.
movie, that's
really,
where,
really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a great villain.
Not my most favorite of the movies, but
No, mine neither. And then in 2009, we've got The Half-Blood Prince, also David Yates.
this movie heavy on the teen romance. If you remember in the fifth movie,
Clearly.
Cho Chang is his big crush, the apparently only Asian person in all of Hogwarts.
Yeah, and she's Scottish. And
Yeah, she has a Scottish
that's,
accent in
That's
the
hitting a
movie.
lot of fetishes for me.
He's an Asian Scottish.
Asian Scottish. That's Colin stuff.
What's that juicy fruit commercial? You're Scotch Korean.
Yeah, oh, I do love
It's like that, yeah.
But yeah, in the fifth, he's in love with Cho Chang. Cho Chang dates Cedric Diggory for a while. Then she
What
gets
a
really
stud.
sad because he dies.
No.
Harry
Joins
goes
the
on a
army.
weird date with her where she cries. Then Harry's like, maybe this girl's a little too sad
Gonna
for
ice
me.
you, girl.
Yeah, I should just go for my best friend's little
Yes,
sister.
who has been obsessed with Harry since the second book
And
when
just seems
she was like in love with
I don't
him.
know, man. Am I the
It's
only
very
one who
strange.
thinks that's very weird?
Well,
Here's
it's
what
something that
happened.
J.K.
Colin,
Rowling
if you
really
introduced
later.
me to your little sister and I was like,
I know.
I'm going to be your brother-in-law.
Yeah, and I was like, just give it 10 years, Joe. It'll make sense.
Like,
That's
that's
that
weird.
James Potter blood.
I'm with, so as Jacob was just saying, one of the biggest mistakes J.K. Rowling says is not putting together Harry and Hermione. I am more on board
I
for
don't think
her,
so.
for him and Ginny than the Hermione.
I think she
stuff.
got it right.
Yeah,
she just
I like-
didn't introduce the Harry Ginny thing soon enough, so it kind of
Or
came out of
subtly
nowhere.
enough.
If it was Harry and Hermione, it would be boring as shit.
Yeah, because that's
I mean,
what
the
you
fact
would
that it's
expect.
like the smart girl and the dumb guy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Fred Flintstone and Wilma. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's
I love
that's
that.
an archetype. You know,
Right.
she's got the red or he's got the red hair this time instead
Yeah,
of
really.
her. But you know, it's
Ew.
the schlubby dumb guy with bad luck with the like. Why is she with him? She could do so much better.
Yeah, it's the king of queens.
Yeah.
King of Queens.
Shoe tying aside, yeah, I'm okay with Ginny and Harry as the end ship,
I am
I'm
too.
not.
Well, I am in the
weird
books.
to me.
I want to say one of the biggest mistakes that the movie made was that they kind of ruined the character of Ginny. The character of Ginny in the books is so much more interesting, has more personality.
So she
I don't
goes
know if
through
it's
more
the actress they
development.
cast.
She's
but
the
they just didn't give
troublemaker
her-
of that family eventually.
Yeah.
You know, the twins
She's
are
a
like,
better
Ginny's
character than
crazy.
Ron.
She's like so
she's a stronger
rambunctious.
character
Yeah.
than Ron.
Because the way
in
it comes
books.
off in the movies is like
She's
little
bland.
girl,
Yeah.
love interest.
Well, they almost give her nothing
Quiet.
to do in the movies, and they cut a lot of her lines from the books, and so you don't get an idea of her character. She has a super distinct character in the books that doesn't really get touched on as much. And I think she's a better character than Ron. I think her and
shit.
Hermione are like two of the best kid characters
Yeah.
in the books. And I don't know.
What a
I mean, it would
shame.
make sense that J.K. Rowling is writing great young girl characters.
Yeah.
You would
and
hope so, right?
And in the books you see like, oh, Harry and Ginny, they actually work really well together. In the movies she kind of gets cast aside.
It comes off weird in the movies.
Yeah.
I will say, especially that moment.
And if you never read the book, you don't have a sense of her, like, the characterization, like the...
Yeah,
how-
which I was not reading at this point.
Right, so you just kind of see maybe something that comes off as a little bit flat and
It's
underdeveloped.
definitely delved more
And a
into
little
the
like,
books.
oh, man, don't just try to bang your friend's little sister. It's weird.
Yeah, that's like...
Well, I think part of it came too because in the original couple books and movies, it's the three main characters, right? Then they kind of expand from like book 5 on, where you have Neville, you have Luna, you have Ginny, you have the twins. They get kind of pulled into Harry's friends group more. They do go on more adventures with the
You're just
Order of
not
the Phoenix
seeing
and
that
everything.
as much in the movies.
No, you do from 5 on, right? Because they make the Order of the Phoenix or the Dumbledore's
I mean,
Army.
I would say you do and you don't, though, because Jenny
Yeah.
really doesn't get it.
But I think they actively tried to make like Neville and Luna more important to the story in the movie.
Let's
These
move
are
on
your
to the
other
movies
best
so I can talk
friends.
about how Neville is the best character.
Okay, we'll talk about the second to last one here, number 7. Of course, we go up to 8 in the movies.
Yeah.
It's David Yates again. It's Deathly Hallows Part 1.
So how do you guys feel, before we talk about this movie in particular, the craze that this started?
Of the
where
split.
The final movie of the series of books had to become a part 1 and part 2.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's based on the specific property.
I mean, can we acknowledge, though, that this was the trend?
Yeah,
we saw
like,
Hunger
you know,
Games,
Twilight.
They were
Guys,
all
it was
splitting
called
the final
Infinity
one.
Wars Part 1 and Part 2 at a point.
Originally,
We're
yeah.
still
I mean, it
dealing
became
with that.
I'm just so glad that Star Wars hasn't done it yet, of the splitting of the final.
Don't put it
But
past
I think
Part
it really
1 and part
works in
2.
the Harry
Yeah,
Potter
please
series
don't
because
jinx it, Joe.
Yeah.
because part 1 and part 2 in the Harry Potter series, they're super distinct. Like
Yeah.
part 1 is like kind of a road trip. It's very slow moving. They're kind of doing their own thing.
There's a lot of
Part
character
2 is like a
development in part
huge
1.
battle. It's like Battle the movie. the
Yeah,
Battle of
so
Hogwarts.
part 1 is just the fucking tease.
Yeah.
So they're making you
It's
pay
the
for a
build-up,
movie that's
yeah.
not a
See,
movie.
You feel
Right.
like it's just a tease. I feel like it's.
But I love this movie.
I love this movie because I feel like it's
I don't.
here's all the character development
Yeah.
that you're not going to see in the next one, because the next one's
Next
all
one's going to be a
action.
huge action scene, so we're doing all the whole slow build up to it now.
And here's a hot take. I think the final 20 minutes of part 1 are better than the final 20 minutes of part 2.
Oh.
Interesting.
Leading up to the death of Dobby and the battle
breaking
at
out
the-
from like Bellatrix Lestrange and everything.
Yeah, like that battle to me
Yeah.
is way more intimate and way more close quarters than
Mm-hmm.
what you get in the final.
The
I
army.
agree.
As a young guy, I just really remember wanting it to all be over. You know, just wanting him to move on.
See, I feel like at this point it had gone from midnight movies to Cole and I, friend of the cast Cole, casually checking them out when we had a chance. When we were like breaking from classes or work. It's like, you know, he would be on set for like 6 months and he'd come back and be like, oh, have you seen that Harry Potter movie yet? And I'd be like, no, let's go check it out in the middle of the afternoon. And like be like, oh, that was pretty good. That's kind of how so to see like a character development movie leading up to it, to me was kind of just a good reminder of what I was in for.
Yeah.
And
I
then
like
when
this
you
movie.
see the final one, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I like this movie way more than part 2. Some of the locations they go to are just like breathtaking. The
Yeah, very
cinematography
true.
is
Gorgeous.
amazing. There's that one scene where Harry and Hermione are dancing to that Nick Cave song. That's like
Yeah.
such a great
That's
scene.
really cool.
But-
I forgot about that.
Do you think by these final 2, they were just like, Ray Fiennes, do whatever the fuck you want? Because he seems, as Lord Voldemort, truly unhinged. And I fucking love it by the end. Yeah,
He never says a full word.
not with one breath.
No, he's so breathy.
Oh, I just want
as
to
the
mention,
villain in the end.
Yeah.
we kind of passed already, but in Order of the Phoenix, when Dumbledore and Voldemort duel in the
That's
Ministry of
pretty-
Magic,
final
that's a great
showdown.
scene where Dumbledore shows up. And I'm like, oh shit's going down.
We talked about it on the Trick or Treat episode, American Horror Story.
Mm-hmm.
This season that they're on now, Apocalypse, has a fight that looks exactly like that
Oh,
fight,
yeah.
where it's like two like icons of color, basically, where it's like
Yes.
green versus red
Yes.
or blue. It's like wild.
Well, it's kind of
way
like
it
so
looks.
the way wands work. It's similar to lightsabers, where the certain lightsaber colors always meant like certain things, right? It's kind of the same thing with.
And
wands.
is that written into the books, or is that just
Yeah,
something that came up with in the
Expelliarmus
movie?
or Avada Kedavra is green, Expelliarmus is red, so it's always been that. It's kind of that inversion where you usually think red is like going to be the bad thing, right?
Yeah, just based on Star Wars.
Yeah, you guys are right. What I remember about the cinematography of that scene when they are in the Ministry of Magic and it's all gray and
The
dark.
color, man.
Everything is
Yeah.
washed out, but magic is color. That is really cool.
Yeah.
And that's a little why I'm excited for it. We'll get into it. The new movie that's coming out, from the trailer, it looks like some of the
Crimes of
coolest
Grindelwald.
magic battle scenes that we've seen. And, David Yates has been doing it since Order of the Phoenix, so he knows a little bit about how to stage these magic fights and stuff. It looked pretty action heavy, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about your thoughts on the final part 2? What do you guys think of Deathly
So this
Hallow?
is it. We finally got here. As someone who didn't read the books, but here's something I can say based on everyone who ever told me that they read the books. The final battle kind of gets neutered, right? I mean, that intro
It's pretty
scene
short.
is very Tunks's and the werewolf's death are really
Well, they kind of show him off
Overridden.
screen.
We're talking the last one, guys. It's Deathly Hallow Part 2. What do you think of the finale?
I mean, thank God.
thank God
We made it. I'm not a
happily
fan.
wrapped up.
I'm not a fan of splitting them in half. If
No.
the book was one, keep it at one. That's why I hated the fact that The Hobbit was 3 fucking movies. To me,
Never saw any of the Hobbit movies. It's the shortest book. It was 3 movies.
yeah,
What
it
the
feels
fuck?
like a
The
cash
Hobbit,
grab.
no, it doesn't make sense for The Hobbit, but for this, I mean, if they made it one movie, it would have been 5 hours long.
Was
But
that
are
one
you not
700
okay
pages?
with watching a 3.5-hour movie? Is my question.
I am. For commercial standpoint, they want to keep it under 2.5 hours generally.
I get that, and I don't get it at the same time. Return of the King won all the Oscars that year. That movie is 3 hours and 24 minutes.
Yeah, but it
yeah, but I think
maximizes
that kind
theater
of
run.
bucked the trend.
Yeah.
Whereas, you haven't seen a Marvel movie over 2.5 hours, right?
No, and they're very
the rumors are
apprehensive.
A4 will break the 3-hour mark
really?
for the first time.
Wow. Well, they got to do something because they've been setting the trend.
Yeah, see, but here's the thing for me: if you're invested in it and you want to see it, you're going to sit through it.
Yeah,
I don't think you necessarily need to break it in two.
Well,
And to
they're
bring it back
casting a
to-
wide net, I guess.
Yeah, and to bring it back to this movie in particular, though, the battle that everyone was so worked up over, where we see multiple deaths, is kind of grazed over in the first 20 minutes of the finale. I mean, Deathly Hallows Part 2 opens with trying to escape Hogwarts, and we see some major deaths that just kind of happen in an instant. I mean, it really wasn't that satisfying for me.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of Helm's Deep, where it culminates with this epic kind of retreat and failure.
Yeah.
They could have done that with part 1, had those deaths at Hogwarts happen, and then leave you on, all right, well, how do we regroup? Kind of like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a
get
big
that.
problem with part 2 is that it has to slow down for the whole Harry confronts Voldemort.
But the first
Harry
one was
dies.
slow.
Harry goes into this weird
Limbo.
afterlife where he talks to Dumbledore and he sees a weird Voldemort baby. Then he comes back to life. So it was written like that in the books, but it's it doesn't make for the most cinematic movie when you're have a whole huge battle scene and you're slowing it down for these slow personal scenes with Harry.
I want to talk a little bit about the death and return. I did not read up to the last book, but in the movies we watch the fat, awkward loser kid Neville Longbottom become the sexiest man alive for Britain in the year that this movie is released. He's my favorite character in Harry Potter because in the final movie he walks out and he's like, "Look, fuck Harry Potter. You killed my parents. You're a bad dude. I'm gonna bash your brains."
Well,
in."
that actually
Yeah.
is in the books too. I think they made Neville a better character in the movies, and they actually made Neville and Luna more important, and they actually made a relationship with Neville and Luna, which wasn't in the books, and then J.K. Rowling came out and
really?
said that was a great idea. I should have done that.
Yeah.
I love those two characters, and I
Yeah.
love the way they are portrayed in the final movie. But that moment where Neville's everyone's laughing at him, and they're like, "Let him say it, let him say it." And he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"I'm gonna
that's-
fucking kill you."
That's a great
that
scene.
to
That's
me
in
is
the
the
books.
best scene
Yeah.
in any of these.
And getting a
movies.
little deeper into the lore of the books, if you know about the whole Chosen One prophecy within Harry Potter, Neville could have been that guy. The whole prophecy comes down to Voldemort heard the prophecy, half heard the prophecy, and it could have been either Neville or Harry.
You will die by a child born on
Yes.
this day.
And they were both born on the same day or something.
And his parents got stupefied versus
Yes, his
getting
parents
killed.
were the Longbottoms, who were Aurors. They were really important in the revolt movement with as well as Harry's parents. So Voldemort made the choice to go to Harry's parents, and that caused the entire events of the book.
Right.
He could have easily chosen the Longbottoms, whereas Neville, it would have been Neville Longbottom in the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Man, I would have read those.
And they go into that a ton in the
That's
books,
in the
too.
I'll tell you,
Bernstein Bears universe.
Has someone written a fan fiction where Neville is the lead character of Harry Potter, though?
Probably. There's a ton of fan
Because
fiction.
I'll tell you, the ending moment where he comes out and he's like, I got something to say. And they're like, okay, let him talk.
Little Longbottom.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck Harry, I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. That's my favorite moment of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Because it's like, just like George Lucas made something bigger than himself with Star Wars. I feel like that's the acknowledgement of the wizarding world is bigger than Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But we get it on screen.
Well, that's
by
in the
saying,
books, too. Like,
I get that, but I'm just saying, like, to see that on film was major, I think.
Yeah.
Joe, I want to pick up on what you're laying down. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The big next movie franchise that, of course, is in the Harry Potter universe that Warner Brothers is using to cash in on it is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and the sequel, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yes.
These films, my opinion of it, is that they George Lucas the shit out of this universe.
Yes, I have some thoughts about this.
They are prequel films to me. They follow in all the same trappings that the prequel Star Wars films have.
Explaining things we don't want to explain.
Well, look at it this way. Harry Potter is about Harry Potter. That is a character that we can be anchored by. We follow adventures with them. Okay, what's Fantastic Beasts about? It's about the world. We just build out the world. Yeah. It's very much more important that you see how, American magic comes together and the school's there and this and that. Okay, well, what's Newt Scamander doing? In the first 5 minutes of the film, Fantastic Beasts, you do not see Newt Scamander. You see people getting killed. You see Grindelwald, a character you have no idea who he is, appear. You see an Obscura, whatever that is going to end up being, blow up a building. Random people saying, oh, what a weird disaster this has been. You get the New Salem people saying this is going on. Boom. Then we meet Newt Scamander. So we as an audience, what are we anchored to in this universe?
This is my biggest problem with the first movie is that it's so disjointed. It seems like half the movie is Newt Scamander doing his own thing, trying to get his animals. The other half is this grander Grindelwald plot that has seemingly no connection to Scamander except that he's in the same city at the same time. And so it just feels a little disjointed.
I mean, the one thing I will say, as someone who is, I would say, a Potter casual, everyone's so excited about Grindelwald and all of that.
Grindelwald.
I don't know what the fuck any of that is. I don't know what any of that is.
It's delved
I don't
into
care
a little bit in the
about
later
it.
books. Grindelwald was like the original, like before Voldemort, Grindelwald was the big bad of the wizarding world.
And he
Darth
was
Plagueis.
Dumbledore's boyfriend? Is that correct?
Yeah, they were they were friends, then they became lovers for a brief time.
And then he became a bad guy? See, I've had all this explained to me, like I was supposed to care about it in Fantastic
So basically,
Beasts,
Dumbledore,
and
when he was
Fantastic Beasts
younger,
doesn't talk about it at all.
Right.
Yeah, Dumbledore when he's younger,
That's a
but
good
they were
point,
both
Joe.
young, powerful wizards who had interesting ideas. But then Grindelwald went a little too out there for Dumbledore. Dumbledore was like, I don't know, these muggles, we shouldn't be killing muggles and stuff. And then Grindelwald's like, no, we're like the superior race. Blah,
Like
blah, blah.
Magneto and Xavier.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
a
they
lot like
smooch.
that. Yeah, but this is the fucked up thing is in the movies, they're not acknowledging their gay relationship,
Any of it.
which J.K. Rowling has said is a thing.
But she
and
said
J.K.
is a
Rowling
thing
wrote the
after-
movies, and she didn't fucking mention it.
Yeah, see, here's the thing that pisses
So,
me off
fuck
about
that.
that. I think it's important that Dumbledore is gay and that his
Well, I think
his
it's important that he makes
ex-lover
mistakes,
becomes a villain or
They
whatever.
should absolutely show
like-
that as text in the movies, which they're not doing. It's
As
more
in the
subtext.
books, they should show it as text. There's nothing in the original Harry
Well,
Potter
in the books,
series.
he's an old man.
But
He
there's
could
no
be gay or
hint
straight. He's
of
not.
his
He's never
sexuality
romantically
at all.
linked.
Yeah.
Well, he's never in a sexual situation. He's an
I
80-year-old
I
man.
get that, but at
my
the same time,
argument
what I'm
for
saying is
this
you can't just
is-
take credit for a character being
Yeah.
homosexual if you didn't put it on.
I
the
don't know
page.
how they would have wrote it into the page.
You didn't.
in the
You didn't
books.
write it
But
as
as a young
representation.
man,
You're taking
should
credit.
absolutely
for
be in the
representation.
Included in the
Yeah,
Fantastic
Jude
Beasts.
Law playing Dumbledore should be playing him as a gay.
Oh,
man.
in this
And
second
Jude
film,
Law
that's
as
what I'm hoping.
Dumbledore, we should say, as of the point of recording this podcast and releasing it, we have not seen him other than trailers portray the character. He is not
No.
in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
No.
At all.
No.
Yeah.
Well, this is my other problem with the series. So they decided they're going to make 5 movies, and they're all
What?
going to be. Yeah,
I
there's
thought they were 3.
No,
They're
it's 5. Yeah, they signed on to 5 with the first movie, and they're all going to be called Fantastic Beasts : something. Why did you name your whole series after this obscure thing? Like
A
the whole
textbook.
Grindelwald thing is much bigger than Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So that to me does not make a lot of sense. Why is Newt Scamander such an important character? I don't know. But
hopefully will learn to know in the next movie, which...
But I am more excited about this new movie than the last movie.
As we're recording this, I want to point out there are fan first screenings going on right now for Crimes of Grindelwald, and these are the first time it has been screened at all. The press hasn't seen it yet. The embargoes have not been broken. The reviews have not been broken. They made a point, Warner Brothers, to release fan first screenings. That's cool. Which is the first time this has been done.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. And the reactions on Twitter that I'm seeing pouring in, again, no spoilers, no details at all, but they are all overwhelmingly positive. Fans are very excited about
So
this.
the target audience is enjoying it.
Yes.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings about the first one. I thought it was pretty lackluster. But ever since the previews came out, the trailers for this next one, I am super excited. I'm super down. Can't wait to see it.
Well, we should say that the film certainly hasn't been without controversy as well, whether it's Johnny Depp's inclusion as Grindelwald or more recently the character of Nagini, the Horcrux partner of Voldemort throughout the series, was revealed to be an Asian actress who people are not happy that is who she is playing. They believe that plays into her being more of a pet opposed to a person.
Oh, I didn't hear about that part.
I have not heard about
seen
that
any
at
of
all.
this controversy. But
Can we talk... and this is my problem, I think, with the expanded Harry Potter Wizarding World universe. I want to talk about the Fantastic Beasts movie. And when we brought up the franchise, everyone's talking about shit that hasn't even been on the screen yet. Like, the expanded stuff with Grindelwald and, like, how it's going to affect the universe moving forward. That's not what this movie is at all. Like,
well, it half is. That's the problem, is because it's trying to do
not
this grander
to it.
mythology, but it's also about Newt Scamander running around New York finding his animals.
So what I want to say real quick is that I didn't see Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them until 2 years after it was released, because everyone I know knows how I feel about Harry Potter, which is kind of like, oh, magic isn't really my thing. They're fine, whatever. They were like, you don't want to watch that movie. It's not worth it. Finally, one night on HBO, Cassie and I were like, oh, we'll throw it on. I loved it. I love this fucking movie.
Wow.
Really?
Like, I thought it was really fun. I really liked all of the characters. And now the things that everyone are excited about have nothing to do with this movie. So I'm really kind of confused as a casual fan to be like, oh, I like that. I like,
right.
seeing
watching
New York City
the
and all this
World
stuff.
War II
Well, that was cool. I think-
American character and being like, well, I like that.
Like the new Salem people who are like this fucking weird religious cult of like anti-witches. Like all of that stuff's really interesting to me, and no one seems to give a shit. And even when we brought it up on this cast, everyone's jumping to the next movie, which as a casual, I don't get why people are excited about. Like, I don't get why that's
all that
moving
was in
that way.
service of the bigger plot of Grindelwald versus Dumbledore, which is what this new movie is going to be about. My problem is, like, that stuff was interesting. You know, it was going to be one-off for this movie because the idea is that each of these movies is going to take place in a different city, I think. So, like, this next one is going to be in Paris.
Yeah, I want to travel
so we'll
when
see
I
the
film
school
too.
from
Possibly, I'm not really sure.
From
Probably.
Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, I mean, my
But
problem.
what does that mean for the third one? Is where it's?
I have no idea. I don't
China.
know. I don't know
It's gonna
what
be in
direction they're
China.
going in with
Mike,
these movies.
you just hit it on the head.
That's
Guaranteed for foreign box office. The next one's in China.
It
That's
seems
right.
like, how are they going to spread this out to 5? I have no idea. I have no idea the direction they're going with these movies. But I like the Jude Law casting.
Yeah.
I dislike Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. I think that was horrible from the very beginning.
Because of who Johnny Depp is, or because of
that,
who the character
and it's just
is?
bad. Like, why did it need to be Johnny Depp? Like, in this movie
It's Colin Farrell the whole time, and then
it's Colin
Sneak
Farrell,
Attack,
and
it's
he
not
takes
Colin
off his
Farrell.
face and he's like crusty ass Johnny Depp with like a weird blonde hair.
As a casual, everyone seems to like into that, and Cassie was like, do you get it? And I was like, no, I don't. Like, I
hated
to me
that.
this means nothing.
Why-
The bad guy turned out to be a different bad guy. Like,
why can't Colin Farrell be like Colin? I would rather have Colin Farrell as Grindelwald than Johnny Depp.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, and I wish someone could explain it to me in a way that didn't feel
Don't
like
understand what.
like why are we jumping from this movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, felt like it was supposed to be about Newt Scamander, and then the next one feels like it's not, and he's just kind of in service of Jude Law.
He's this piece in a bigger puzzle that's going on.
Then why didn't we start with the bigger
That's
puzzle
why these
and then
movies
go
are so,
to the
that's
mini
why
pieces.
I feel like this movie is so
Yeah.
weirdly structured.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with it. But it's like you couldn't do 5 movies of Newt Scamander running around trying to find animals.
No,
Right,
but it's
well,
also about
that's
like the
Pokemon, the
corruption of like wizarding society. Like
Yeah.
it's about how
I also didn't like the direction they went with like Wizarding America. I thought it was really weird because like the whole thing about Wizarding America is that they don't allow any animals because Muggles might find them, and then they might be like, "Oh, these magical animals."
well, it's about trying to hide your secret society.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
It was all right, but it's like in the scene where they're like straight up about to murder Newt Scamander and the girl. Like they sentence him
In
to
like
death.
a pool.
Yeah, they sentence
That
him to
was
death
weird.
and literally take him into the next room. They're like, "All right, you just got sentenced to death. We're gonna kill you right now." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay." That
Pretty
seemed a
brutal.
little sudden.
Taxpayer dollars are burning away every second.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get this over with.
So here's my question, and it's really kind of the only thing I care about is the baker guy who he's
Yeah.
been in a handful
Jacob.
of movies.
Jacob Kowalski.
Jacob Kowalski, who is an actor I like. He was in Fanboys, which was
Oh, that's the
written
character's
by
name.
Yeah.
Ready Player One. Ernie Klein. Like
Yeah.
I like that guy. Are we going to see more of him? Is he important?
Yeah, he's in
at
the next
all?
one, but he's just kind of tagging along with.
But
Newt
he's like the
Scamander.
audience viewpoint as a
Yeah.
nomad.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's
a
like-
nomad, a muggle. I'm
Yeah,
a filthy
we call
muggle,
them
man. I don't know
no-mages.
nothing.
Like, why do you have to call
Yeah.
them something different? Like muggles is a great word, and then you're like, what are the Americans called?
Well, it's like a
No
lorry in a
magic,
truck.
No mag.
Slang, yeah.
So you don't like the idea of division of magical
Terminology.
slang?
No, it's just like everything they did with Wizarding America is like so dumb, so
It
obvious.
is like the
It's
RC
like-
Cola of Hogwarts.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Wizarding England has such an interesting like world, and then America's like, oh, we call them no mages because they don't know magic.
Yeah, see, I think that's kind of funny.
That's what
I think
Americans
that's just
would
like
do.
a funny one joke. Yeah.
Here's what I like about this. I like the kind of Carrie plot line of like, here is someone who has to repress.
Yeah.
They have to repress their magical abilities
that's-
and be ashamed of it.
And that means
Yeah.
nothing moving forward.
No, that's carrying
That's
on. Like,
it.
that kid is in the second one.
All right.
he is.
All the main characters from this one are in the second. Like the main 2
Yeah.
girls, the guy, the
I'm
Newt
so
Scamander.
confused about the future. Of
I
this
want the
franchise.
Harry Potter horror movie
because
around
that
that
kid
idea.
is in Grindelwald's bigger plot.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna see more of him. We're gonna see.
Because he's like the ultimate weapon if you can only
But
harness.
Mike, you like
Yeah.
that he has these powers as an obscural. One of my complaints about the continued universe of Fantastic Beasts is the introductions of the female character Goldie can read minds. Obscurals exist. If you don't use your magic, this thing comes out.
I like that the repression creates an outlet valve of like darkness. Like,
well,
I
and
think
also
that's
like
cool.
to bring it back to
It's
the
evocative.
first Harry Potter movie ever, like he's talking to snakes, and like I get
Yeah.
that that's important to the
That's like
world,
mind reading.
but
You're
like
right.
it
No,
is,
you're
it's
absolutely right. Some people can turn into animals in the
Yeah.
old books.
well,
as
and it's also like
You're right.
he doesn't know what he's doing. It's like puberty. I mean, it's like mutants to bring it back to
X-Men.
X-Men.
But it seems so much like everybody has the exact same powers, but some of them have superpowers.
Right.
Yeah.
I always just roll my eyes at that.
no, my
I
problem,
do and I don't at the same time. I mean, like to be honest though, like for me, the guy I'm most excited about is the dumb baker
Kowalski.
who's
I
just
like
like
that guy.
brought into
I don't
it.
give
I
a
love
shit
him.
about that guy.
He's great. I love
I
him.
want to see Jude Law, and I want to see.
See, I don't care
Johnny
about Jude
Depp.
Law.
I wanna
Like,
see him
why
have
would I
gay
care about
sex.
that? This movie had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
because
This movie did not. It set up nothing.
This movie did.
for
I
Jude
feel
Law.
like
But I
the
didn't like this
biggest.
movie that much.
I feel like the biggest fail of the franchise so far has been Harry Potter fans telling me like, "Oh, you don't want to watch that movie. It doesn't really matter." Like you want to see this big expanded story, and it's like, well, I like the characters that they introduced. I don't necessarily need. Like Colin, to bring it back to the prequels thing. I don't necessarily need to see a young Dumbledore. I thought this was just a fun movie set in the wizarding
Yeah.
world.
It's intergalactic trade rights, and then we're talking about the Ministry of Magic in America.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just rolling
So
my eyes.
to bring it back to Star Wars again, is the next Harry Potter movie I shouldn't call them Harry Potter movies. I should call them Wizarding World movies.
We know what they are.
So Crimes of Grindelwald, is that not Solo? Is that not
Ooh.
Jude Law as a young
No,
Dumbledore?
it's more
Is
like
that
Phantom Menace.
okay?
That kind
Yeah.
of
But
like,
why? I mean, is it not?
Because of the Obi-Wan, young
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
But
and
who's
how
the
in the
young
first
Obi-Wan?
movie they killed a lot of
Dumbledore's
characters
the
that didn't
Dumbledore
matter.
character.
Dumbledore is basically.
So
young
who's his
Obi-Wan.
Qui-Gon? Who's his
Well,
like?
just in the relatable
It's not
prequel
exactly-
version of
okay.
each other.
But
I think like fans' expectations of this kind of confuse me because I don't really understand
maybe
what they
what
want.
people want to see,
my-
and that's again coming from a casual.
I think
Yeah.
people want to see pointing of wands and colors coming out of wands.
My main
I would
problem
like
with the Fantastic Beasts series is that it's just so much not as well thought out as the original Harry Potter story, which is super thought out, super detailed. Now it seems like J.K. Rowling doesn't give a shit.
She's
writes
movies.
writing nonsense.
She shouldn't be doing that.
And it's like,
Oh, so you don't think she? So Colin,
I've
as
had
a
this argument with my
aspiring
sister
screenwriter-
where she says she created the entire universe.
Why
Of
doesn't
course
she
she
get
should
the
be able to
rights
write
to
it.
yeah,
because there's a
because
difference
she doesn't
in
give a
mediums.
shit anymore.
It's
She
a
goes
difference
like
in
George
medium,
Lucas.
and beyond that, she is not reacting well to what people like and what people don't like.
No.
When she says, "I've got 6 or 7 of these planned out," it's her knowing what she likes to focus on, and that's an issue to me.
But I just feel like these movies aren't well thought out at all. It's like this first one wanted to be 2 different movies at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think the part of that you like, Joe, is what they're going away from in the next one.
Oh no, it's not going to be "We Bought a Magical Zoo" anymore. It's
We
going to
Bought a
be
Magical
Intergalactic
Oh,
Spies.
see, I guess I'm a
Yeah.
dumb normie for liking
All
just
right.
the
But
the
I don't think
normie
necessarily.
stuff
No, I don't
of
think
it.
necessarily that you're a dumb normie.
while
I
we're
just
here-
think that these
No, but,
movies
like,
aren't
that's-
going the way that most people think they are, and it's weird and it's not well thought out.
But that's
and
what fans of like diehard Harry Potter fans seem to want. This Dumbledore
that's what I
Grindelwald
want, but it's
conflict.
not going really the way I wanted it to.
All right.
So I
Well,
have mixed feelings, but I'm excited about the next one, and I hope it's good.
so do you say, Jacob, and let's go around here as we wrap up the movie segment, is Fantastic Beasts 2 the Grindelwald saga, blah, blah, blah? Is it going to be a hit or shit?
I'm really, ever since the trailers came out for this next one, I've been really hyped to see it. I hope it's a hit. I've got so many questions about where this series is going, how there's going to be 5 movies within this series. This next movie kind of seems like the third in a trilogy, the way the scope of it
Pentology.
is, so I don't know where they go from here. But I'm excited to see it, and I hope it's a hit. The first one for me was pretty lackluster.
No,
Got it.
I'll go with you.
Colin?
I'll go ahead and say hit because the audience is built in. I don't think the reactions are going to be as strong as the fan ones are, but maybe there is some course correcting going on after the next one.
Do you think the reason they did the fan first screenings is kind of a?
Oh, I think that's a leader for sure.
Yeah, you
People
think
just
they do that on
saying,
purpose?
Yeah,
We can get the
let's,
diehards
let's
to
put
get
a
into
heavy
this,
foot
and
on
then
this.
that'll
Exactly.
Influence other people.
Well, because they lost the diehards with Star Wars, so if you can get them on board to be like
And I think to
thumbs
a-
up on Twitter.
Yeah, but to a degree, they lost the diehard Harry Potter fans with the first Fantastic Beasts movies, which I think a lot of people had mixed feelings about. I think diehards had mixed feelings about it. I think normies had mixed feelings about it. I don't know.
I think it'll be a hit. I think it'll sell, but it's definitely not like on the same level of the.
Mike, you're saying hit too.
I think it's going to be successful. I mean, it's got shiny magic special effects on it. Of course, it's going to be a hit. It's going to do
probably
well.
be better than any recent DC movie other than Wonder Woman.
It's not going to
man.
have much competition. Box
Just
office
knocking
wise.
That's
DC
true. It
real
will not
quick.
have much competition right now.
No,
so.
No.
Disney's Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Boy, you
there's
just-
there's nothing else this season that
Rolled
people
my
are
Well,
eyes
remember
back.
when like
excited
Harry
about.
Potter used to always come out like over the Christmas holiday? I feel like that's when a Harry Potter movie.
I think you're
should
talking
come
about Star Wars.
See, you're
Star
weird.
Wars did that too.
Well, you're weird, but to me, they're Thanksgiving movies. They are. I feel
no,
like
but I
they
feel
are
like the last
Thanksgiving
couple
movies.
always came out like around Christmas.
Oh, for
They
sure.
kind of came off in weird times. Like some of
Yeah.
them were
Yeah,
summer.
some of them in the
releases.
summer,
they
which
were
I was
not
like,
necessarily
No,
consistent.
these are not for summer. Make these come out December 25th. I want to go see these with my family.
Interesting. See, to me, they're Thanksgiving.
That's how I felt about
movies.
Star Wars too when they started releasing like Solo in March. I was like, what?
See, but the weird thing about that is none of these were Christmas movies before they came back with The Force Awakens. No Star Wars movie had been
No,
released.
I
in
just
December.
like to have
True.
a big movie to go see when I'm visiting my family. You know.
Yeah.
Well, let's close it out with your thoughts, Joe. Hit or shit?
I guess hit. I don't know. I'm really confused. As a normie, I would say I'm very confused.
It's funny
on
that-
the history and future of Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's just.
I think a lot of people are confused.
No.
And what do you think about Johnny Depp? Because I know you talking about J.K. Rowling. She's kind of maybe say she's like fake woke at times.
Oh yeah,
She
Johnny Depp's a
defended
bad guy.
Yeah, they cast Johnny Depp. A lot of hardcore fans had a big problem with it. She got a lot of flack online, and then she defended him and said, "No, I think this is the right choice."
Yeah, and
again,
Johnny
I'm not
Depp
trying to knock
has-
her writing at all, but I do think she is fake woke at times. Like when the play happened, she wanted to be like, yeah, I mean, there's no reason Hermione couldn't be black, and it's like, well, bitch, then you would have written her. You would have written her black. Like you don't
Well,
get credit
She wasn't
for
saying that she
things
does.
like that.
I don't think she was saying that she specifically meant for Hermione to be black. I think she was saying that there shouldn't. No one should have a problem with Hermione being cast as a black actress in a play.
But to me, you shouldn't get credit for saying that. You know what I mean? Like that shouldn't make
it's better
you
to
good.
say it than not to say it.
Sure, but like it'd be better to just write the characters diversely.
To me, I think J.K. Rowling, she's an out of touch rich person who means well. That's my opinion. Maybe she's fake woke at times, but I do think she means well. She's just rich and she's out of touch, which a lot of celebrities are who mean well.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe she stumbled into writing a global book phenomenon and became famous and is having to deal with that. And it's not so easy.
Sure. I know, like, again, millionaires.
Fantastic Beasts, it's going to be a hit.
But millionaires who didn't used to be millionaires, they kind of have a perspective that if you're born into it, you might not have. And she used to be very poor, and now she's very rich. She's probably out of touch, but I think she does mean well for, like...
I'm not saying she doesn't mean well. I'm just saying she shouldn't get some sort of, like,
Johnny
fake
Depp
credit.
casting, why?
Boo.
Just recast him.
Yeah, we'll just CG it over. All right, well...
It's too late now, but...
Yeah,
we should have done it after the first movie. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right, man. It's all right. You're magical.
He's hot about it.
Mike, let me ask you this. Did you know we had the two most passionate Harry Potter fans here just screaming at each other into the
side.
microphone?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't know much about Harry Potter.
I'm going to Expelliarmus both of these two. No, I mean, we'll see what happens with it. It's going to be coming out very soon. Harry Potter is a deep universe. Hopefully they don't Star Wars it up.
Okay.
Sorry. Let's go ahead
like Star Wars.
and talk about the video games of Harry Potter. All right, Normies, we've just had a fantastic segment about Fantastic Beasts and the films of the Harry Potter franchise, and now we're here to talk about some of the video games. If it's big, they're going to make a game about it and tie it in. There's been some good ones, some bad ones. I want to go ahead and just ask everybody, what's your experience with the Harry Potter video games? Any that stand out to you that you remember playing fondly? I know I have a couple.
Oh, yeah. I played every single one of these games.
That's amazing.
The first four, I want to say, lined up perfectly with me and my family, where we would take these long caravan road trips in a old villager van, strap on a TV in the middle of it, and you know, let the kids play video games while they drove to Hilton Head. And my siblings and I, we would pick up one of these games and try to beat it by the time we drove back.
That's pretty awesome, yeah. Video games are better than show tunes on a long road trip.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. We would do the same thing.
But Harry Potter specifically, I mean, it was such a bonding game type
really
genre.
So you would say you're more into the video games than you were even the books?
Oh,
or the movies.
easily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
So
And these were produced by EA, right? For the most
EA,
part?
and then eventually it becomes Warner Interactive, Warner Brothers Games.
So for me, being the biggest Harry Potter fan here, probably, I actually do not have a lot of experience with the video games. I remember vaguely playing Chamber of Secrets on GameCube, and recently I got my GameCube and my old games from my dad's house, and I had some games I didn't even remember I had, because I had Chamber of Secrets, and I also had Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup, which I do not remember playing at all.
Wow.
I have no idea. I kind of want to go back and play it. I have no idea what it's like, but I have those two games, and I remember Chamber of Secrets the most, and other than that, I'd never really played any of these video games.
You didn't fire up Quidditch World Cup as soon as you saw it, man? I would
Come on,
slap that
guys.
in
That wasn't
his
an
mind.
I should.
instant go-to?
It seems interesting. I'm not sure what it could be like, but I kind of
I'm assuming it's Quidditch in some sort of...
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I assume people are wearing different colored uniforms depending on what team you're playing against.
Well, I have my own problems with Quidditch too. I mean,
Whoa, give me your hot take.
hot
give me your hot
takes
take
on
on
Quidditch.
Quidditch.
hot Quidditch take. Okay, well, it's not that hot.
You're one
I mean,
of
a lot
the
of
seeker
people,
truthers, yeah.
a lot of people feel this way, but the rules to
A lot.
Quidditch make absolutely no sense. And you can tell J.K. Rowling is not a sports fan, doesn't understand how sports work. She tried to make up her own sport, but the scoring and the rules don't make any sense. The golden snitch is worth 150 points, but when you catch it, the game ends. So 90% of the time, the person who catches the snitch wins the game. So what's the point of the rest of the entire game with the seekers and all that?
Yeah, this is another one.
Those are good points.
Here's an anecdote from J.K. Rowling. Another one where she kind of comes off too proud for it, where she says that she developed Quidditch in one night
Yeah,
after
I can
a
tell.
break, so after a breakup, she went to the pub, sat down, came up with it, and she says it's so aggressive, like rugby with the bludgers and stuff, because I wanted to bludge him, of course. And you're kind of like, but again, it doesn't
But, like,
make
the
any
main part of
sense.
Quidditch
But if you find
is
the golden
fine,
snitch
like-
of solving your problems, then you
So-
can get back together.
Yeah, seriously,
You
of
win.
relationship
it's
goals.
really the,
Yeah,
it's really
I
the
don't know,
golden
man.
snitch angle that ruins the entire game. It would never work as a professional sport. So the whole point is like you throw the balls through the hoops, you get 10 points every time.
Fine, yeah.
That's fine. There's the other guys that hit the bludgers, blah blah blah. That all works. But then you make the golden snitch worth 150 points and it ends the game. It totally throws the score.
like
So does
we're-
that mean 150 points ends the game?
No, because
Yeah,
if
so
you
the
scored,
the
it's a
team
point
that catches it gets
differential.
150 points and the game ends. So if you're not down by more than 150 points, you win the game.
Oh, so you could get the snitch and be down by like 170
just even it out.
and it would
Yeah,
still be
but
going.
the chances
Yeah.
of that happening is like so slim that 99% of the time the team that catches the snitch wins the game.
I mean, let's be real. It was just written so Harry could be the snitch
Yeah,
getter.
and it was
his
written
we could
by
have
dad
people
was
flying
going
on
to-
brooms.
Yeah.
She definitely never imagined the kids on college campuses with
No.
PvP pipes between
But
their
it's a
legs.
super
would
out-
be
it's
flat.
super
Which, can we talk
unbalanced
about
in
that
terms of
for a
scoring.
minute?
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys ever seen that in person?
I've
heard
had
of
one
that,
at our
yeah.
college.
Not in
I've seen it
person.
before.
I've
Right.
not seen it, but I know it exists.
I've seen it.
the golden snitch is like if we're watching the Golden State Warriors and the Cavs in the NBA Finals, it's down to like a 2-point game, and they also have one player each just scouring the arena.
Oh my
Just
god!
I'm looking for the golden ticket.
Yeah, LeBron James'
whoever
job
finds
is
it
to
wins.
lift people
Right.
out of their seats and,
And
be like,
that,
where is
and
it,
that
where is
player
it?
becomes the most important person
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
team.
I would love
It's
that.
like, how can all these wizards be into the sport when 99% of it doesn't matter at all?
The rest of it's fine. Like you're hitting the balls through the hoops, it becomes a
Yeah.
possession game, a positioning game, fine. But the
It's just
snitch-
very unbalanced. Like,
I hate that we're arguing the logistics.
it was
of
clearly made
Quidditch.
up by someone who doesn't watch sports, is not a sports
valid.
fan.
Well, it also
Yeah.
like Jacob,
Which is fine.
create a sport. I mean, that is a huge undertaking.
yeah.
I created a sport. It's
Yeah,
called
like there's no like pod racing doesn't have rules that people are trying to replicate.
But that's
Yeah,
just a
racing
race.
is understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
The idea
Street
that the
racing,
entire
very,
Wizarding
very
world, this is the
basic,
only
you're right.
sport they care about. There's
Yeah.
huge World Cups that are on par with like.
Well,
the
that
World
Victor
Cup.
Crumb is a huge character, and that we're
Yeah,
all
that's
supposed
right,
to be
I
like,
forgot
oh
about it,
shit,
yeah.
Well, that's a big plot point is that in the World Cup, he catches the snitch while his team is down by more than 150 points, ends the game as a loss, but he just did it because they were getting embarrassed so bad.
so my thought is there's two ways you build your team in
How
this
long
world.
is a Quidditch game?
All right, it's as long as the snitch is in play.
yeah, it could go on for days.
There's no clock. So
Historically, sometimes
you're
it would
either
go on for
building a
days.
team that is expressly designed to stand in
Some
front
of
of the
this I
hoops, right?
yeah.
Yet your whole team is designed to make sure they don't score any points while you
Right.
find the snitch, or your team is designed to only score in the hoops. In case they find the snitch, at least you're outscoring them. So you need to be
Yeah.
winning by 150. So you need to score a minimum of 150.
That's insane.
Is there a
I'm
lot
saying,
of
like,
tanking
90%
in the
of the game
Quidditch
doesn't
world
matter
to try
at
to get
all.
the best snitch hunter?
So it's like,
Yeah.
I need
what are they?
basically,
I
yeah.
keep calling them snitch. They have a name.
Seekers.
Seeker.
Seeker,
Legends of the
Quaffle.
Seeker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have a 7-person Quidditch team, and 6 of the people don't matter at all. The only person that matters
Is Harry Potter.
is Harry Potter.
whoever gets that snitch.
Yeah.
I know snitch dog.
Yeah, and then you had Malfoy was the Slytherin seeker.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, because
the
his
bad
daddy,
guy version of the
because his
bad guy.
daddy bought all the.
It's
tools
like
for
you when the
team.
little league, the little league son is the pitcher.
Yeah.
Oh, you get the
Big
best
fucking
job.
surprise.
Yeah. I played the GameCube ones. I remember fighting some haunted books in the library, and you go to potions class and you try to
Yeah.
solve.
Mike, do you remember the pixels? I mean, everything was pretty flat and
it was
sharp.
pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the Chamber of Secrets one.
I think there was a Nintendo Wii games too that you could do with the motion controller. You would cast your spells with that. I remember playing those. Those were pretty fun. But I didn't get too deep into these. I'm more into figuring out the logistics of Quidditch. But
Oh, apparently, that's what we're really concerned with.
yeah. How does that
Oh.
game work?
Yeah, I have no idea. But can I bring up that
Go ahead.
there is a newer mobile game, a Harry Potter mobile game. I don't know if any of you guys played it. It's a very like click farmy type game where microtransactions are involved, but you can
Fuck,
play it.
yeah.
You're
with no
talking 2018 Hogwarts Mystery.
Yes, I believe so.
All right, let's go.
You can play it with no microtransactions. You just have to have cooldown times where you have to wait like an hour before you can play it again. I played it a little bit. It was enjoyable for a click farm type of game, but
Did you put any money into it, or
no, I never put any money.
It has a
into
narrative. I mean, you're basically
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
it
a
has, like, a
motion
mystery,
comic,
yeah.
basically.
It's kind of interesting. It's entertaining for a little bit. But
Now, Jacob, did you hear the controversy when the game came out?
no.
So one of the characters has to pick up a cursed amulet, which unfortunately, after they put it on, begins to choke them to death. if you do not have enough power coins or whatever Jacob's talking about, if you are in a cooldown period, you cannot progress past that chapter.
Oh my
I
god.
did not
Children
know
would
about
tell
that.
their parents, "This character's dying. I need your credit card." And they would say,
dying.
"No."
Oh, sorry about that, kids.
That's
I did not know that. I do not like
Yeah,
that.
That's also
pretty,
sort of
pretty
hilarious.
bad.
I thought we'd reach the low of lows when it comes to pay to play like my
No, but it's like, sorry, your character's getting choked by a cursed amulet. There's
Tell
nothing
your
you can
mom
do.
that if she doesn't buy you that G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes is
You're
gonna
done.
die.
I hope they just like literally put that on the screen.
That's pretty
Yeah.
scummy. Don't like that.
Yeah. No, that's some Slytherin ass shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
And then
me.
the only
But
thing
I was
we've got on the
insulted.
horizon, because they do not make Fantastic Beast platform games, unfortunately. If they did, I would be driving to Hilton Head right now. But unfortunately, until then, the only thing coming out is another mobile game. It's from Niantic, the developers of Pokemon Go.
That's right.
It is an augmented reality, an AR game where you are doing spells in the wild. Are you guys excited for this?
I think
I think
that's
that'll be a
pretty
Wizards
big
cool.
hit.
Unite.
I think that'll be a big cultural phenomenon.
AR
probably
is gonna-
like Pokemon Go was.
It's gonna become more and more
Yeah.
like commonplace going forward. Like,
Definitely.
Pokemon Go was just the start of that, so I think Harry Potter's a good place to continue pushing that.
Yeah, I think Harry Potter makes a ton of sense to be like, oh, well, you can see your magic come out of your wand. Like,
Yeah.
So
Ghostbusters is another one that I would love to see produced
It
by
just
this
doesn't have
company.
that reach to hit like the big audience, but that could be very fun for the fans of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, where you
Okay.
can like see stuff in the augmented reality world.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Joe, you just hit me with a great point here. Does Niantic run the trouble of maybe they pick up too many of these properties and they become a telltale situation?
Which we just saw them go under. So yeah, that is something to be wary of these days.
Well, I think specifically this Harry Potter one, I think it will be a big hit because it's the perfect built-in nostalgia franchise right
Yes.
now where people our age, the same people that were into Pokemon when they were kids, were into Harry Potter. And so Pokemon
That's true.
Go was a huge cultural phenomenon because of people our age, right? So you got people our age, you got people younger. It's going to be a hit.
You
Everybody's
pick your
got a cell
house.
phone in their pocket.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on.
You've got the system already.
4 teams, Slytherin, Hufflepuff. There's going to be
Oh, yeah.
3% play rate on Hufflepuff. It's
And
going to be great.
You know,
Oh
I'll be
my
honest, I am a super casual Harry Potter fan, never played any of these other games we're talking about. I would download that and give it
Yeah.
a go. Why
Yeah.
not?
If it's free, yeah, I don't mind cooldowns.
Yeah.
I like Harry Potter more than Pokemon, so
Whoa.
you know, I'm
Whoa, dude.
sorry, Pokemon.
Tweet at him,
At Jacob.
Well, Colin, let me ask you.
at Jacob.
Of
the-
all these games, since
It's
you
just
played all
Jacob.
these games, which one was your favorite?
Oh, so it gets pretty good by the end runs there. By the time you get to Order of the Phoenix, you can
Really?
actually choose between the three main characters to play as, so you're not just Harry. And Hogwarts becomes a bit of an open world. You know, as we've
awesome.
complained before, you can actually start to go around the schools more. So the later games, I gotta say, I highly recommend. Deathly Hallows becomes a little too much task-oriented. I would play some games before that. Find that sweet middle ground spot.
I mean, that seems like the type of game that would be primed for an open world, though. Like Harry Potter, explore the wizarding world. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen an expanded make your own wizard MMO online.
Oh, totally.
That's true.
Yeah, that's definitely a market that they could tap. I mean, the Pottermore, there could be the Pottermore RPG.
The
yeah, it could
Pottermore.
literally just
Oh,
be called
Jesus.
Pottermore.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be hugely
Pottermore
successful, I
Club
think.
Penguin. Let's get it.
We see a lot of April Fool's Day gambits coming out of Harry Potter. It seems like almost every year. I don't know if you guys remember the famous Horrors TV show, sort of like a Law and Order set inside the world of Harry Potter. Game Informer came out with that, of course,
Right.
tricked everybody.
April
So every
Fools.
time it was April Fool's, every time a video game sort of comes out, even this latest one, Niantic, the Hogwarts United, people were like, "That's not real." But no, it is, so get excited
Totally.
about it. Maybe
Yeah,
there's some
that's
apprehension there. I don't know. I would like to see more development on the game front.
I'm gonna Avada Kedavra you.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, you want more development. What do you want to see? Pitch me your perfect Wizarding World game, Colin.
So I would do something small, open worldy like Breath of the Wild, where in the same way that you had a central point for the continent and the world wasn't too large, Hyrule Castle, put Hogwarts Castle there. Just explore the immediate scenarios around there. You
Having
can go
the
to
woods.
Hogsmeade, you can go to the Walloping Woods. I mean, it's already built in. You've
I have
got
to agree
so
with
much. Yeah, why not?
Would you
lake.
want like motion controls for like wand movements and stuff
No,
like
I
that,
don't
or is
care
that
about
too
that.
much?
Yeah, that's not a huge thing for me. That would be interesting. I'm sure that would be the Switch gimmick, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
A lot of gamers don't like stuff like that.
No.
I don't care about that at all. Like, give me a game that I can play on a normal PlayStation controller Give me an open world RPG set in Hogwarts where you design your own character, choose
And you're just
their
a
house,
student.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
and
a
you can-
normal student going through the school year. I will give you all the money for that.
That would be a pretty cool RPG.
And what if you could braid your Patronus horse's hair?
Yeah.
The
We're
more
in.
customization, the better.
Yeah.
If I can choose the, so you know how they like turn into animals and stuff. If I can choose the animal they turn into and choose like the color that they are and stuff,
You can
I
have
will die happy.
red
Would you
Patronus.
play Quidditch for 45 minutes instead of?
Ooh, that's an
Oh,
interesting
man.
question.
Yeah,
You
probably.
know that
Yeah,
would be
you
in
go
that
around,
world.
you play gobstones, you play wizarding chess, blah blah blah.
What the fuck is gobstones?
Gobstones is like some kind of marble game that they play. I don't remember exactly.
That's the niche to Normie, right?
No, but that's why
Yeah.
you could put
Options.
all of that into this kind
yeah,
of open
yeah.
world.
Like
thing.
you're saying, go to Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
You can walk around. You can do different quests, and then
Buy your wand.
Have it go through. So like each year in like the 7 years, like something bigger and darker happens, and you got to fight your own.
It's like a big event. Yeah.
Speaking of like getting into the world like that, we haven't really talked about it in any other segment here. Has anyone been to the wizarding world of Harry Potter in
I
either
have not.
Orlando?
I'm so
or
I have
jealous.
not. So I went to Hollywood Horror Nights, and I wanted to go into the Harry Potter ride. Apparently, I had the wrong kind of bracelet to do that. They
Oh,
wouldn't
no.
let me in, and it sucked because the people that I was there with, they were able to go through, and I was like, "Let me in."
You
and
got like blank check.
Oh, yeah.
well,
you
because
got
I didn't
pulled
have the
out.
right. I didn't buy the right bracelet online, and then some employee was like, "Oh no, you can't go in here." And I was like, "I just want to see Harry
You
Potter."
can't go in here.
It sucked.
That's a bummer, man.
So I still need to
Sorry.
go back and do the Universal.
You were on the fringe. You
Harry
didn't even
Potter.
get there.
Bummer.
My-
I will say, as a casual fan, I have been to the Orlando version of the park.
That's the big one.
which is so it's
I'd love to see that one too.
It's spread across both Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios, so you need to have access to both parks to do this, and you buy a train ticket on 9 3/4, and you ride the train across from park to park.
That is so fucking cool.
But it is unreal. Like if Harry Potter was my Star Wars, I would be
sure.
in all my glory.
There's not a comparable Star Wars world anywhere.
Not
Not
yet,
yet.
but they
Right.
are in the
Yeah.
process of building it. Yeah.
Not yet.
Disney, you know. But I would love to do that. I don't know when the next time I'll be in Orlando, but I would
I'll
also
tell you,
just
it's
love
worth
to go
it.
to,
Like if you get the tickets, go.
If
But
you're a
I also just
Potterhead,
would love to
that's
see
up.
Hogwarts, the Hogwarts one in LA. I would just love to see
The
that.
one in LA, I have not been to, but I've had some friends and family go, and they're like, "Oh, it's okay," but the Orlando one's better.
Yeah.
And the Orlando one is just kind of like you get both Hogwarts and the school grounds itself, but also like the town of Hogsmeade,
Diagon
Yeah,
Alley.
and Diagon
Don't
Alley,
forget
all that
Ollivander's the wand maker.
Did you buy a
Oh,
wand?
yeah. I did not, but 3 people I was with bought wands, and if you like, there are certain areas like if you're standing on a certain block and you do a certain motion with your wand because it's reading, it's like a Kinect camera essentially reading the motion. The different hand motions you make do different things, like shoot water out of one side or open a door in another. It is outrageous. You will feel like a real wizard doing it.
That's really fun. That's really great that they built that in.
And the rides, like, not to get too like theme parky on it, like they're incredible. The coasters are great. The animatronics are great, which are mixed in with like holograms where they recorded scenes from the actors to be in these original rides. All incredible stuff. If you get a chance to go, even as a casual fan, you'll love it.
That's awesome.
That sounds amazing. I would love to go do that.
That is the coolest thing I have ever heard.
It felt that way. And like I'll be honest, even as a casual, like you'll never be more into Harry Potter than when you're living it for yourself.
Sure.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on the video games and extra media of Harry Potter before we hit the wrap up?
Nope. Just make my open world RPG that I can play, and I will give you money.
Keep checking them out. Keep making them. Let's hope they get out of the mobile world.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that covers it for me. Joe, any last thoughts?
Oh no, I'm ready to hit that wrap up.
It's almost graduation day, so let's go ahead and get down to the main hall before we miss it. Ayo, Maj Norms, we are out here to wrap up the Harry Potter universe. Hey, yeah, that's a good throw.
We get some Muggle fans.
That's right. Hey, shout out to all my Muggles. You know, my Mudbloods too. We had no discrimination
that's-
around here.
Mudbloods too.
That's our word. That's not your
Yeah,
word.
I did not like how that came
That's
out.
our word. Okay.
Yeah, Jacob's a mudblood.
Jacob
I'm
is.
a mudblood, yeah.
I'm a Mudblood too,
Yeah.
dog. It's all right.
Half wizard, half...
Mudblood implies that you
100%
have
badass.
some sort of magical ability. We're all muggles. None of us are
Jacob's
real.
a
Well,
mudblood.
everyone in the world is a muggle if you're going by realism.
Real
Realism.
shit.
Get real about it.
Look, you know, mudblood, it's like saying the N-word when you're not black. You just can't do it.
It's cool that none of this is going to go on the podcast. it's really cool.
I might keep it.
No, I say we should too. So we're talking the wrap up
That's
of
right.
the Harry Potter universe here. Final thoughts, guys. Just to kind of jump into mine real quick. Do you guys remember there's a Simpsons episode where they first go to Britain for the first time? And Lisa is outside a candy store. They run into J.K. Rowling. She says, "Can I just ask you, what happens to Harry when he grows up? You know, I just want to know the end of the book so bad." J.K. Rowling, voicing herself, rolls her eyes and says, "Yeah, he grows up and marries you. Is that what you want to hear?" And she says, "Yes."
Wow.
That's
The
hilarious.
point that Joe's making about the fans of the Harry Potter universe not knowing what they want, I think is so perfectly summed up in that joke.
Well, you can even equate that to Star Wars fans not knowing what they want. Or,
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's in that
you
same
know,
vein. You
yeah.
know.
And if the official media that comes out is not exactly what the fans want, then they get mad.
Yeah.
So it's better to like say, yeah, it's whatever you fucking want it to be. You know.
We're at the point now where it has not affected the Harry Potter fandom. My hope for the future is that we do not have any moments like that. Let's not get divisive. Let's not split down the
Well,
middle.
there's less.
Connection to the beloved characters. It's not like I'm seeing baby Darth Vader.
I was gonna say there's less man
mean
babies
Anakin
online
Skywalker
that
in
would
the
get
first
mad
three
about Harry
movies?
Potter because
Yeah.
it's more inclusive. But
yeah.
I love Harry Potter. It's a big nostalgia thing for me, as it is for a lot of people. I grew up with them, big fan of them, and yeah, this might surprise you. You know, growing up, people would always say that I looked like Harry Potter.
I get it with the glasses.
We're
for sure. Yeah.
three white people with glasses sitting around. We're all Harry
Yes,
Potter. 3 out of 4.
No, I don't have glasses.
Dark
I'm
Joe
hair.
is not.
I'm
yes.
Cedric Diggory, man.
we all have.
I'll meet my end.
That's right. We all have.
But
dark
I never
hair
wanted to be
glasses.
Harry Potter. I never
No.
really liked Harry Potter. I liked the world around him way more than the main characters.
I'm more of a Malfoy.
Well, I'm more like a cool Malfoy. He doesn't have any flaws.
he's a real cool Malfoy.
I'm the kind of Malfoy who braids his horse's hair.
Well, glad we're carrying over jokes from last week.
If you listen, you'll be
You'll get
happy,
it.
and if you
You'll get
didn't,
it.
go back and you'll enjoy these
Yes,
a lot
check it
more.
out. Check out the Western episode. I say a lot of really smart and cool things.
Thanks for the plug, Jacob. We really appreciate
So
it.
he's right.
He's right.
Listen to past episodes of this podcast.
For Jacob's plug, he's
But make
plugging
sure-
himself
make
on
sure
the
you
last
see-
episode.
Watch all the episodes that I am a guest star
Yep.
on.
Watch
Or-
him. Read it up.
Yeah, I would recommend you watch them too.
Read those episodes, brother. Okay,
Read the transcript.
Harry Potter, right? We always are comparing it to Star Wars. I don't think it's not as big. It'll never be as big as that, but it is a generation's Star Wars, right?
For
You could
sure.
say that.
Absolutely, man.
Totally.
Swept the nation.
Cultural phenomenon. It has an expanded universe. It has a lot of things that people take very seriously. A lot of things that people want to imagine themselves. I wanted to be a fucking Jedi. You know, I'm sure kids want to be wizards. I wanted to be a wizard at one point. I want to have my own wand, your own lightsaber. Right? There's a lot of similarities.
Absolutely.
You want to project yourself into that deep world. That's what's fun about it. I want to thank also Dark Souls briefly for the spinning staircases because Miyazaki cited that as inspiration for the Duke's Archives and the Dark Souls games. Thank you. My favorite game series. So Harry Potter's
Bloodborne.
inspiring even Bloodborne, right? My favorite games creators. It's
Yeah, there you
massive.
go.
It's massive.
It's massive.
And you're a wizard, Harry. That's great. Any other final thoughts for Colin and Joe?
I'll go ahead. You know, I think Harry Potter's great. I'm glad I got a generation of people reading. It got America excited about for young adult novels again. I think we need another Harry Potter, not necessarily in the same universe, but something again to reinvigorate the excitement that we got for reading in this country and the world in general. So if you're out there and you're working on a novel and you think it's a little silly, just remember that a woman who just lost everything and was living on subsidized income was able to come up with something that was just personal and original to her and made a cultural phenomenon. So you can do it too.
And
so just be inspired that way.
The young adult novel industry is like a whole huge thing now. I mean, there was a dystopian thing for a long time. Like if it wasn't dystopia, like people weren't going to watch it. So maybe we get more uplifting type stuff because, Harry Potter, while it was dark at times, it did have like ultimately some uplifting.
It's about human triumph.
Yeah.
And the wonder.
Now everything is so grim and dystopian. Hunger Games kind of kicked that off, and there's so many different series that aren't as well known in the young adult and never will be as well known because they're just derivative. But let's get more original stuff,
Yeah, and I think we should be excited about the future of Harry Potter. As we learned in the movie section, I'm a little confused about what we're going to get moving forward, but I do hope that this franchise continues. I mean, I think there's a lot of unexplored ground for fans.
My final thoughts on it, I don't think moving forward, the changes that have occurred to the material. Think about the way that you got Harry Potter was through books. Now, the story progresses through films.
Right.
And that affects those books. That is an issue for me. I think it should stay rooted in where it came from.
I wish there was like a new novel series.
Exactly.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Sketch that out.
Would you guys be cool with someone other than J.K. writing another book series in the same universe, or would you want to see her continue that work?
I'd be okay
if she
with it.
condoned it and it was well written, then yeah, absolutely. I would
Yeah, you see that happen with 007. So, I mean, come on, right?
Or the
And I mean, like,
entire Star
the
Wars novel canon.
Timothy Zahn, yeah.
There's
and
a million different
play
people. that have
kind of started that trend of like, yeah, she co-wrote that one, but she doesn't have to co-write everything moving
Little
forward.
hands off.
But I
yeah.
agree with you, Joe. We need a new Harry Potter. We need another cultural phenomenon to come around and just blow up the young adult novel scene or the movie scene or whatever. Like, we need something new.
Yeah, Star Wars shook up the movies for young people.
Yeah.
Books shaken up, Harry Potter. Should it be a new genre? Should something like video games get their crack of affecting young people so much that it becomes a cornerstone for them growing up?
That's interesting. YA video games.
And
Yeah.
as hard as I've been on J.K. For some of her, beliefs or taking credit for things, I mean, that's an inspiration, man. That's someone who didn't have a real history. She wasn't Stephen King coming up with these.
Yeah.
It's just if you have an idea and you think it's original, go for it, man. Do what you got to do to make something.
And self-publishing now is easier than ever. Like, who knows? You could put your book out on Amazon. Maybe it'll catch fire. Yeah, stay creative. You might be the next one to create something magical.
Ooh, I love all that, guys. Stay creative, normies.
Stay creative. Stay positive.
That's right.
Everything's gonna work out.
Well, Jacob, anything to plug here at the end of the episode?
No, just want to plug Harry Potter. Go see it in theaters.
Now, what is
This
Harry Potter
week,
exactly?
It's
How are you
it's
getting
coming
paid
out
by
right
these
now.
companies?
Yeah, go play Red Dead Redemption. Go watch Fantastic Beasts.
Rockstar and Warner
Let us
Brothers.
know your opinion. Write it in the comments or whatever.
Yep.
Check out my Instagram, I guess, if you want to.
You can
You don't
see-
have to, though.
Yeah.
And I just really quick want to throw it out to two artists who I met at LA Comic-Con, Chandler Ford and Sajad Shea. They gave us some great deals on some incredible art. You should check out their Instagrams. I'll tweet them out as well. Some really great artwork for
very
some really
cool.
great prices.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Any final wrap-ups, Colin?
No, that's kind of it for me, guys. Check us out, rate, review, subscribe on all our social media handles. Helps us. And, of course, write in again if you've got any topics you want us to talk about in the future.
That's right. We're out of theme month now, so go ahead and let us know what you think. What's your house? What are you in? What's your wand made out
Oh,
of?
please let us know
Hit
that.
us, please email us with your Pottermore results.
Yes.
We will
Yeah,
read
your
them on
Patronus.
air.
Yeah, and hopefully this episode met up to your expectation, Patronums.
And let us know your opinion on Quidditch.
Yeah.
Is it a bad
Does it make sense?
How's your fantasy Quidditch?
Can
team
we
doing this
adjust
year?
the rules for a
Yeah.
modern era?
I have Victor
Quidditch
Crumb.
2018, yeah.
Yeah.
You have Victor Crumb? It's
My
like Todd
fantasy
Gurley.
team, yeah. He's
Damn.
the Todd Gurley of
Except he's-
Quidditch. Yeah.
Dead now.
Oh, shit.
Anyway. Thanks, Normies. This has been Mike.
It's Colin.
Joe.
Special
and
guest.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Stay
Thank you.
magical.
Harry Potter freed Dobby. How can Dobby ever repay him?
Just promise me something.
Anything, sir.
Never try to save my life again.
Give Normies Like Us a 5-star like and review on iTunes. Thanks, Normie. View 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 on iTunes. Thanks.